513 in a row today for Terry Labonte. Give me a shot of that race car before we talk to this guy. How about that paint job? I don't know, is that iron gray? Is that gunmetal gray? Is that galvanized? Is that sanforized? I guess it's supposed to be the Ironman colors. Is that right, Labonte?
That's it. It's the Ironman car.
It's obviously a very fast paint job because forget the record. What really matters is that you came here and sat on the pole. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was like a silver bullet there Friday, but I'll tell you what, our Kellogg Chevy ran great in practice, and, we wound up qualifying on the pole, so that was a good run for us. Who knows about the race? I think we're in pretty decent shape. We'll just have to wait and see.
You've told me for 6 months now in the run-up to this record that what you really were pleased about was that when the record came, you'd be with a team that could win the race. Were you making some kind of a statement by winning the pole, or is this just business as usual? You try to win the pole every week, don't you?
Well, you always try to win the pole and qualify the best you can. And like I said, this is the best team I've ever been with, and I think that's what excites me the most about it, is the fact that I knew that when we came here, we had a chance to qualify well and had a chance to win the race.
Guess who just walked up the stairs? Have you said anything to Richard Petty about tying his record of 513? Ooh.
He said it was okay, but Dale Earnhardt came over to try to break my arm the other day.
How about it, King? How does it feel to see that record tied after all these years?
Well, I feel good about it. Like I told Terry, if nothing else, they know Richard Petty had a record. So, somebody's breaking. I can't see anybody I'd rather see break it than Terry.
Richard Petty's got a lot of records, and this is not one of them that I was that you would wish you were breaking. I wish he had a couple more I wish I could break.
You'd take 200 wins, wouldn't you?
That 200 wins would be pretty neat.
I'd get a little excited if he got close to 200. I might let Dale break his arm then.
You ought to be a little excited about what your car's doing. You got a shot to win this thing as a car owner today, don't you?
Yeah. I think we have. Bobby's been running real good. We just circumstances. We're waiting on them to come our way, and when they do, Bobby's going to start winning.
I hate to break up this party. Congratulations on the record. Congratulations on the record. Good luck in the race. Let's hear from Bobby Hamilton. Find out what he has to say about his chances to win in the King's car.
Okay, well, Bobby's sitting in here with a bunch of his close friends and buddies, and boy, you had a good car in practice. We thought maybe you were going to have the pole when we qualified, but you got a good starting spot here today, Bobby.
Like I was telling somebody then, it seems to be when it gets money time, you're always not that good, but we had a good practice both times yesterday and didn't have to do much to the car. The car drove really good. It kept getting off the corners good, so we'll just see how today shakes out.
How about racing on this track? This is a tough place to get around.
Well, it's getting like Darlington used to be. You just race the racetrack. You get to racing somebody early or whatever, you run your tires in the ground, and Goodyear's got a lot better tire here than what they've had in the past. It's just the racetrack is so abrasive, it tears them off, so you just have to baby everything and try to be there at the end.
King's going to share one record after today. Can you help him with another? Can you get him number 201 today, Bobby?
Man, we're trying everywhere we go, but this ought to be a good one for us.
Okay, that's Bobby Hamilton. He'll roll off fourth. David?
All right, thanks, Weber. I got so excited there in the presence of all those record holders, I failed to give Bill Weber a proper introduction. Pleased and proud, as always, to have him part of the NASCAR Today team. Let's take a look at the top 15 qualifiers here. Labonte on the pole. How about Elton Sawyer? Unsponsored car on the outside pole. We'll hear from him a little later. Mark Martin, Ted Musgrave, and Jeff Burton give Jack Roush 3 cars inside the top 10. Derek Cope rounding out your top 15. So, we're off and rolling here at North Wilkes. We're 37.5 minutes away from the drop of the green flag on ESPN as we bring you the exclusive live coverage, and we'll have more of the pre-race activity on NASCAR Today right after this. No matter where you're going, follow the sun. Today is in. And by the NASCAR story. For your copy, call 1-800-71-NASCAR. 35 minutes from the fall of the green flag. They're packing them in today at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and it's no surprise because this place is always a sellout. It is the heart of short track racing in America, and it has been for so many years. These folks really appreciate the history that this racetrack represents. From its dirt track roots through a half-century of short track racing, North Wilkesboro has been an absolute bastion of the NASCAR bull rings, but the world of stock car racing is changing. Enoch Staley owned this place, ranked among NASCAR's most loyal supporters, but following his death last year, the track was sold. Half ownership went to Bruton Smith, who broke ground in January at a new superspeedway in Texas. The other half to Bob Baer, the owner of New Hampshire Motor Speedway at Loudon. Conventional wisdom said that those two promoters would each take a date from this racetrack to their super speedways, that this would indeed be the last Winston Cup race at this racetrack. Bob Bear refused to come on our television program, said he didn't have anything to say about that situation. Bruton agreed to come on, and then about 5 minutes to air said, nah, I got to get to the other side, and I really don't have anything new to report. Anyway, the bottom line is the two co-owners of this racetrack have been in perhaps a bit of a feud. Bob Bear had some nasty things to say about Bruton in the local newspaper. Another paper has published a report that Bruton is trying to buy Bear out. What this all seems to mean for the moment, well, maybe we can get a hint from Bill Weber, who eavesdropped on an impromptu press conference this morning. Bill, what's up?
Well, Dave, first of all, I did talk to Bob Bear off camera. As you mentioned, he declined to come on the air, but he did say what all the parties need to do, he and Mr. Smith and Mr. France, is sit down together and talk about the issues. Bill France stood at the back of the NASCAR trailer about an hour and a half ago, talked to several reporters. Several things he said. First of all, he does envision there being a fall race here at North Wilkesboro. About 1997, he too is unclear. He was asked, will we be going to Texas in 1996? His words, as I stand here on this spot talking to you today, no, we will not go to Texas in 1996. As for 1997, he made it very clear. The schedule comes out at the NASCAR Winston Cup banquet in New York in December. So there still are a lot of unanswered questions. The fans want some of those questions answered, not only for ticket sales, but for making things like reservations at hotels and plans in advance. They want to know where the circuit is going next year and if indeed they'll be coming back here. Dave?
New conventional wisdom certainly seems to be that we will be back here for a second race this year. The Junior Johnson Grandstand overlooks this famous old half mile. Behind it, the brushy mountains and the pastures that surround this racetrack. And a few miles down the road, the new $4 million mansion for the man who is not here, the retired Junior Johnson. Bob Jenkins paid him a call.
Junior, looking back to before you decided to get out, was it a difficult decision to make?
No, I had been toying with the idea of making that move probably 2 years before it really happened. I had 3 opportunities to sell it and could have sold it anytime I wanted to. It was not the price that I felt like it was worth, and I didn't sell it until I got that price. I weren't going to be a desperate person to get out of racing and give up a lot that I had earned and worked for just to get out of it. So I waited till the right price came in the right situation, and I was ready to go.
But how did you know this was the right time? Was it a family thing, or?
The family was the motivator of it. Yes, it was.
Any regrets?
No, sir. No, sir. There's not any regrets for me retiring, and I don't have no axe to grind with any part of the sport. It's just I've turned my back on it, and I probably will keep it turned, to tell you the honest truth.
They say this could be the last race at North Wilkesboro. What are your feelings on that, and on the possibility of short tracks going away completely?
I think if short tracks goes away completely, you're going to lose your proving ground for the future. I basically cut my teeth at Wilkesboro and Hickory. Ned Jarrett did the same thing. Bobby Isaac did the same thing. Morgan Shepherd, Dale Jarrett. You can just, you can just see where all the drivers are coming from, and they're coming out of them small racetracks.
We drove from the road out here and saw there's a new cement block building going up. Is that your new race shops?
Well, I've been kidding a lot of guys. It's 60 by 40. I said, now that's the size race shop you need. I remember when I didn't have one that big, and I was awful tough to beat. So I think everything's got too big is what the problem is.
We're not going to see you back in the sport.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I believe he's gone for good, folks. Like we said earlier, the world of stock car racing is truly changing. Here today, though, one thing remains the same. The green flag falls in about a half hour, and these cars are going to rock this joint, looking for that checkered flag and the points that go with it in the battle for the Winston Cup. Now, you're going to catch all of the weekend racing highlights on RPM tonight, of course. That's coming up with First Union 400 highlights, Long Beach Grand Prix, World of Outlaws from Memphis. It's on at 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN2 with Kenny Mayne. And, of course, the weekly show Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. with John Kernan. Half hour away from the green flag. Let's take a break and come back with more. We're back at North Wilkesboro Speedway, the First Union 400, now less than a half hour away, 27 and a half minutes. They tell me the clock on the wall will read. So who has the hottest hand in Winston Cup racing right now? I would say the Winston Cup champion. He has 3 wins and a third in his last 4 starts, and he's rocketed from 43rd to 6th in the points. Not bad. Maybe we can find out how he did it, or better yet, what's ahead as we go to Bill Weber with Jeff Gordon.
Well, how about it? You're red hot. You got to come from kind of middle of the pack today.
Well, we weren't red hot qualifying the other day, but, you know, the car felt pretty good yesterday. Goodyear has a little bit different tires, so we've had to adjust around that. You know, this is a short track. You got to be real patient and take your time, and I think we've got a good enough car, and I know we've got a good enough pit crew to get us back up to the front, so we're going to be as patient as we can.
Yeah, and those tires could go away on you in a hurry, Jeff, so you really got to be careful out there today.
Yeah, I don't think the wear's real bad, but the drop-off of the speed goes off pretty fast, and that's pretty typical North Wilkesboro. So, you know, sometimes it gets easier to pass as those tires go away. So we'll see what happens.
Ray Evernham, your crew chief, used to race modifieds here. He give you any of those inside tips?
Yeah, I think he talked to you about that, the fastest half lap. You know, Ray is great for advice. He's always, you know, helping me out. And it's so nice to have a crew chief that has driven race cars before and is as sharp as he is. And we make a good pair.
Okay, I know you got some stuff to do. Go ahead and head on in there. And what he was talking about, good luck today.
Thanks.
What he was talking about was Ray Evernham does have the fastest half lap here because he got through turns 1 and 2 in a hurry and never got through 3, Dave.
All right, let's take a look at the rest of that grid and see where Gordon fits in there. He is 17th in the qualifying rundown. There's John Andretti in 20th after missing the show at Bristol. You got to go a long way back to find Dale Earnhardt in 26th, but don't feel too sorry for him. Second in the points because the leader, Dale Jarrett, is behind him in 29th. And how about the provisionals? Ricky Rudd all beat up. We'll hear from him in a moment. Michael Waltrip, Hud Strickland, Joe Nemechek, and Bill Elliott had to take a champion's provisional for the 2nd race in a row. Now, the question, who came the furthest for the race at North Wilkesboro? I would have to nominate the guy who flew here all the way from the land of the rising sun in pursuit, of course, of an 8th Winston Cup championship. Makes it worth the trip. Does this look like a man who hates to fly commercial? You bet. 7-time Winston Cup champ Dale Earnhardt, a lot happier in the cockpit, running hard to test Goodyear tires at the Suzuka Circuit, scene of the big year-end NASCAR Invitational race. He had company this trip. Rusty Wallace also on hand. Rusty took care of a lot of the promotional stuff while Earnhardt was out there cutting the hot laps and checking out the round black things in anticipation of the big race. He is ready to climb into this race car. I guess you could blame jet lag for the fact that you qualified so badly this week, couldn't you?
Bahama lag. I've been in the Bahamas, man.
You've been in the Bahamas, right?
Fishing, taking it easy, laid back. Too laid back, right. I reckon.
Let me ask you about this qualifying deal now. When you never qualify a lick, it seems like. 26th this week, and yet look at the results. 2 wins, 5 top 5 finishes in 7 starts. You don't have any trouble getting to the front. Do you just throw away qualifying, not worrying about it, and come here and start working on your race setup from the get-go?
Well, when you don't qualify well, that's all you have left is the race setup. So, you know, we thought we was going to be pretty good in qualifying, but we missed it just a tick, and I say a tick is just a couple hundredths to a tenth, and we could have been on up in this field quite a bit, but that's how competitive this field is, and it's how competitive that Winston Cup racing's got. So we'll take this good race Chevrolet, go to the front.
How many laps? How many laps to get to the front?
Well, I got 400 to do it in.
Yeah, but you ain't going to take that long, are you?
Well, traffic. You know how traffic gets on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I hear you. Especially at this place. Consider the fact that last race, every single car was running at the finish. Good luck today. That's Earnhardt. He's coming from 26th, headed for the front. We're going to take a break. What are we, 22, 23 minutes or so away from the start of the race? And we will have it for you live right here on ESPN. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be good. On the internet yet, get there, www.nascar.com, and you can get the NASCAR online scoop. Find out all about your latest results and information about your famous favorite race drivers, guys like Ricky Craven. Find out what they eat for breakfast, what they have for lunch, what they have for dinner. What'd you have for breakfast this morning, Ricky Craven?
Skip breakfast. I was too excited.
All right, excited you ought to be. 4th in the points, and now people are starting to say, what about Craven? You know, the guy looks like he's for real. The team looks like it might have some staying power. Where do you see this season leading? What's the season-long goal for you?
Well, it would be great if we were able to stay where we're at, and it would be kind of selfish of us to think that we're going to any better than this. And just a great start, and we need to appreciate it and continue to do what got us here.
What about this racetrack? Is this a Ricky Craven kind of place? Is this where that long-sought first victory might come?
Well, you think so, you know. I mean, every driver gets started somewhere on the short track across the country, and we all think we can come to Wilkesboro or Martinsville with an edge. It doesn't happen. You know, the best car will win the race, and Kodiak Chevrolet is pretty good, but the guy up front making history, Terry Labonte, he had a great lap. I mean, he put us all to shame, and he's going to be tough.
Hook on to him, hang on to him. You'll have a pretty good day, huh?
Yeah, just hooking on to him would be a challenge, you know, but I'm looking forward to a good day. It's been a great start to the season.
It truly has. Let's take a look at the point standings to see just how well it stacks up. It's kind of neat. You got the Dales in 1 and 2, and then you got the Rickies 3rd and 4th, and we want to hear from the other Ricky right now. He's a bit of an interesting story this weekend because he had to take a provisional for the first time in his career. Of all the remarkable things happening this weekend, I find that about as remarkable as any of them. Rudd's been around a long time. His first provisional start ever, and Bill Weber will help us find out why.
This is a long walk back here to talk to you today, Ricky Rudd. You ever used a provisional before?
No, Bill, this is the first time in about a 20-year career, but I tell you, it's nice to have one when you needed one. I almost needed one at Richmond in '94 and didn't have any earner points at the time, so it's awful nice to have one if you need it. We just missed a little bit. You know, we had a car, we got destroyed at Richmond, at Martinsville at first part of the week, and ended up that was the car we were planning on bringing to Wilkesboro. We just got behind it. We're not racing that bad. We just couldn't hit a good setup run for one lap.
How you feeling?
Well, I actually feel good. You know, if you looked at that wrecked car, you'd say I shouldn't be in pretty good. I shouldn't be in any shape at all. But actually, I feel pretty good. My neck is not really sore. It's just more weak than it is anything. And I've got an extra headrest. I don't usually use this that often, but I had to use it in 20 laps of practice to lean my head on because of G-force. I just couldn't hold my head up. But using this headrest, I think I'll be in great shape.
Okay, Ricky Rudd trying to come from the back, and I'll tell you, I got tired just watching his guys work on this car yesterday. He's got a battle in front of him, Dave.
Tell you what, that's going to make for a long day. These folks behind me are going to have a great day. It's just a perfect afternoon for racing here. It would not be NASCAR today if we didn't have at least one reference to rule changes and all the discussion about the shapes of the automobiles. Question of the day, is this a candidate for a nose job? Pontiac's new Grand Prix has had mixed reviews and sporadic success since debuting at Daytona. In the wake of recent NASCAR wind tunnel testing of all 3 Winston Cup brands, we're hearing more and more talk about Pontiac teams lobbying for template concessions, a subtle reshaping of the nose.
The problem is the Pontiac development was not what it should have been last fall and early winter to get the front downforce that we need. And hopefully, we can do some work on that, and NASCAR will back us and help us, maybe make some kind of real change with our front valence.
Well, that, of course, was Bill Davis, whose Pontiac did not make the show. I failed to mention that earlier. Ward Burton did not qualify, although I don't know that you could attribute that to downforce on this racetrack. Benny Parsons, give me an observation about this. You're going to be busy in the booth today as ESPN brings the folks the exclusive coverage of the race. How do you get 7 races into the season and then figure out that you've got a downforce problem?
The competition, Dave, that's exactly how you figured it out. And they also got some help from NASCAR. Remember after Atlanta when NASCAR impounded 3 cars and took them to the Lockheed wind tunnel and blew air over the Chevrolet, the Ford, and the Pontiac. That's when Pontiac found out just how bad off their cars were. With that new nose, not enough downforce. And we're not talking about a great deal. A driver told me that at Bristol, they changed the air inlet in the cowl and made it smaller and really and truly helped the car. The Pontiac officials I talked to this morning said they're working on the problem, trying to get a new nose in place. They were in the wind tunnel last week in Detroit trying to figure out exactly what they can do. Can they fix this one, or do they have to go to NASCAR and say, look, in the wind tunnel it showed we've got a problem. Can we put a new nose on the car even in mid-season?
Let me ask you a follow-up question to that, Benny. Do you like the idea that every week you deal with the possibility that you're going to change this rule a little or that template a little? Or should you lay a set of rules out there at Daytona and race to them all season long?
I think we need to, when they start the race today, I think the 37 drivers need to feel like that they really have a chance to win. That their car, not that their car does not have enough front downforce to win, they all should have an equal opportunity to win, and their driving skills, their pit crew, that should determine who wins.
Sounds like a reasonable answer to me. BP will be up there to help bring you the analysis regardless of who wins this thing. Going to be an exciting afternoon, and we'll have it all for you right here on ESPN. We'll be coming back right after the break with more of the pre-race activities as we count down to the fall of the green flag on the First Union 400. We're quickly running out of time. I'm going to squeeze in my 2 cents worth. I think they ought to keep the short tracks like North Wilkesboro for at least one race a year and add the big tracks like Texas and maybe go to New Hampshire a couple of times a year. I don't think 32 is a magic number. I think we ought to race these things every weekend. Time for our national anthem.
Now our thing just don't go right. Okay, now.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Cindy Norris of WFMX in Statesville with our national anthem. Quickly to the man on the outside pole, Bill Weber.
Well, a weekend of big stories. You're certainly one of them, unsponsored on the front row. Can you hang on today, Elton?
Well, I hope so, Bill. You know, the car was pretty good in the last practice. This morning we changed the spring and a gear, so it's an awful slick racetrack. We just do the best we can.
Elton Sawyer starts second. Dave Despain.
Time to say so long here from North Wilkesboro. So long for our part of the gig. Remember, 8 o'clock tonight, RPM tonight has the complete rundown on this race, Long Beach, World of Outlaws, and everything else that happens in the world of motorsports. We want you to stay tuned for that. And coming up, of course, it's the ESPN First Team in the booth and on the job along with the guys along pit road to bring you all of the action of the First Union 400 from North Wilkesboro Speedway. So, with a fond farewell and a thank you to Bill Weber, I'm Dave Despain saying that's it from us. It's time for Bob Jenkins.
These new colors will help carry Terry Labonte to a record-tying consecutive start streak today. It began in 1979, but in November of 1982 it nearly ended. A serious crash at Riverside, California injured the man who would later become series champion. But it was the last race of the season, and with more than 3 months to heal, he was back for the opening of the '83 season. It nearly ended again at Darlington in March of 1987 when a multiple car crash resulted in a broken shoulder. It was an injury similar to the one that earlier had threatened Richard Petty's streak. Terry was taken away on a stretcher, and it looked as if he would at least miss one event. But next week at North Wilkesboro, he was in the starting lineup. Although early in the event, Labonte was pulled from the car and replaced by Brett Bodine. The streak was intact because he started the event. Today, he will match Richard Petty's record with his 513th consecutive start. The man they called the Iceman, with eyes and nerves of steel, has a new nickname. Call him the Ironman.
Jimmy Carter was president of the United States. Muhammad Ali was still active as a heavyweight boxer, and Terry Labonte was starting his first full year in Winston Cup racing. As Bob Jenkins said, the year was 1979, 17 years ago. And Terry, we just saw over the past 17 years, there have been some very, very painful moments to keep the streak alive.
Well, yeah, a couple times, I guess, but overall I've been awful lucky and driven for some great teams over the years and always been able to qualify.
What a day for you. Not only a special day tying the record, but doing it in classic style from the pole.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great run for us. And I'll tell you what, the guys in the Kellogg Chevrolet, I think they put some special effort in for qualifying, and the car was just perfect.
This day could be so special for Terry Labonte. They painted the car silver. I think it should be sort of rust-colored because, after all, he is the new Ironman of NASCAR.
ESPN Speed World welcomes you live to North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway and the running of the NASCAR Winston Cup First Union 400. And the drivers are going for the largest purse in the history of this track. For the first time, it exceeds $1 million. And if you add in those two bonuses, the winner could walk away with more than $250,000. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to North Wilkesboro, the 7th race of the 1996 season and the second of 3 consecutive races on the short tracks. Well, defending Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon continues his climb to the top of the point standings. From a low of 43rd, he's moved to 6th, only 133 out of the lead. He's going for his 3rd straight win today and his 4th in the last 5 races. Now take a look at the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings. Dale Jarrett on top by 37 over Dale Earnhardt. Those numbers on the right column, they represent the starting position today, and you can see that Jarrett is 29th, Dale Earnhardt 26th. But Ned and Benny, does that really mean very much at this racetrack?
Ned, what do you think? Is qualifying indicative of how cars going to run?
No, I don't think so. Not on this racetrack. They tune them to the nth degree for qualifying just to get a bite on the racetrack for 2 laps on new tires. Once those tires gets heated up, it's a whole different situation. This track is very abrasive, so they change springs, they change shock absorbers, they change carburetors, do a lot of things to detune the car. And normally they could run 135, 140 laps here on the tank of fuel. They won't go near that far today because of the tires.
And that's exactly why the cars yesterday afternoon in practice for 40 or 50 laps in one stretch rather than 10 or 15 laps like they normally would do. With more on bad qualifying, here's John Kernan.
A couple of the guys, including NASCAR Winston Cup points leader Dale Jarrett and 7-time Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt, not starting at the front of the grid like you might expect him. Dale Earnhardt back here in the 26th spot, but his team is not worried. Let me tell you why. 34 career starts here in North Wilkesboro. Earnhardt has 30 career top 10 finishes. Plus, they've also got a little secret up their sleeve, a special linkage on the carburetor so that whenever the tires get worn down, Earnhardt gets on the gas coming out of the turns, the tires will not spin. That will help him hook up. Also, Dale Jarrett's team planning to do that as well. Jarrett, his crew also with the special carburetor linkage so that when DJ gets out there on worn tires, hits the gas, he won't fishtail coming out of the turns. They've also got something else up their sleeve, but I'll tell you about that a little later on. Another car to watch is a little further toward the front of the grid where Bill Weber is standing by.
John, once upon a time, there was a driver named Rusty Wallace. He won the '89 championship and dominated victory lane in the early '90s, winning 10 races one year and 8 the next. And he's had a real good season to this point. He's 9th in points, but his best finish so far is 4th, and that makes Rusty very grumpy. So Rusty, Robin, and their band of merry men went back to their little workshop and they rolled out this car, Ronnie, a car that finished 2nd and 4th here last year. And they brought it to a track where Rusty Wallace has 19 top 10 finishes in 20 races and 3 wins. Now, handling is critical here. If you're too tight, you can't get through the middle of 1 and 2. If you're too loose, you'll go through turn 4 and you'll hit the wall. So these guys are running what I call the Goldilocks setup. It's not too tight, it's not too loose, it's just right. And they hope to live happily ever after beginning in Victory Lane this afternoon. Now with another fairy tale story, here is Dr. Gary Punch.
Well, Bill, 36-year-old Elton Sawyer may not look like Cinderella, but on Friday the glass slipper fit when their car qualified 0.09 of a second off the pole. And folks, why is that critical? Say qualified isn't important? Let me show you. Right behind where Elton is sitting back here, there is no sponsor, nothing on the quarter panel. They're hoping before the clock strikes midnight, or maybe before that checkered flag wave today, someone will call and want to sponsor their Ford Thunderbird. As we're getting set for Gentlemen Start Your Engines, remember, Elton may start on the front row, but doesn't have a lot of experience. Only his 9th short track start. The big question, will his lack of experience allow him to stay there, or will he filter back through the pack today?
And one of our Grand Marshals, John Boyd, tell him about it. Gentlemen and Jimmy Spencer, start your engines!
And so the engines
come to life, and the drivers get set for 400 laps of racing here on this 5/8 mile racetrack in the brushy mountains of North Carolina, North Wilkesboro. We'll take a break and be back with the starting lineup and the green flag in a moment. ESPN Speed World coverage of the First Union 400 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina is being brought to you by Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. By Firestone, America's tire since 1900. And by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards of engine protection. And by the NASCAR Story. To order, call 800-71-NASCAR. Cars begin to move away from the pit area for a couple of warm-up laps before the green flag. Here's the starting lineup. On the pole is Terry Labonte at 116.659. Elton Sawyer alongside in car number 27. As we look at the rest of the starting lineup, the pole record here at North Wilkesboro is in excess of 119 miles an hour. How come the speeds were down so much here this year, Benny?
I think they brought a new tire here this time that was a little bit harder than they've been using, and that's some of the reason.
And another reason, it was very warm here on Friday. Normally hot qualifying days on a short track reduce speeds.
Rusty Wallace, who has owned the short tracks the past few years, starting there in row number 6. Kyle Petty with a good qualifying run starts 14th here this afternoon. 400 laps of racing.
You know, and I kind of walked through the garage here this morning talking to different drivers and different crew members, and I didn't talk to a soul that didn't believe they could win the race tonight. They all felt like they had a car good enough to win this afternoon.
And we'll see some of those that qualified well go towards the back. We'll see some of those that didn't qualify well at the back come towards the front. It depends on whether they do have that setup that they need on this very tough to get hold of racetrack.
Dale Earnhardt starts in the 13th row. There you can see the points leader going into this event. Dale Jarrett starts on the inside of row number 15. Trickle and Mass back in row 17. Ricky Rudd took a provisional, as did Michael Waltrip, Joe Nemechek, and Hut Strickland, and the previous champion provisional was taken by Bill Elliott. We're set to go racing. 400 laps here at North Wilkesboro in the First Union 400. Glad to have you with us on a Sunday afternoon. A huge crowd once again here to watch the 7th race of the year, waiting for the green flag, and there it is. Sawyer has never led a NASCAR Winston Cup race. Labonte pulls alongside of him in turns 3 and 4. Sawyer still has it.
Labonte had that preferred groove down on the inside. We'll see that most of the afternoon. That inside is going to be the place to pace.
Elton Sawyer hung on the outside. Man, what kind of camera is that?
It's our tread cam. Isn't that something? Whoa. Bobby Hamilton now moves alongside Elton Sawyer as Elton still can't get down into the inside line.
Boy, he just has not been able to find an opening anywhere.
Hit the brakes and dive in there. Turn left. There you go.
Yeah.
Ernie Irvin is also on the outside.
Jeff Bodine in the QVC car trying to get by Ernie. There goes Earnhardt trying to dive on the inside of Andretti. Can't make it.
Let's watch Dale Earnhardt get by Ernie Irvin.
Well, he touches him a little bit there. He was forced down to the apron going into the turn, and they touched a little bit, so he drove right on by.
Dale is carrying one of our onboard cameras today.
There, Ernie thought he had a spot that he could get back down on the inside, and Earnhardt had covered it pretty quickly.
Put a little dent there on the left side of the 28 car. Don't think the wheel is rubbing or tire is rubbing or anything, but a little bit of sheet metal damage already on car number 28 as Dale Earnhardt now is behind Johnny Benson.
The problem that Ernie has, it knocked the crush panel in. We talked about that, did a track back down on a couple of races ago, and all that fumes are going to start coming inside the car, and that will be a bad news for Ernie.
Jeff Gordon continues his climb toward the front as he has now gotten around Derek Cope.
He is running in the 15th position now. They'll make it 14th. Jeff Gordon moving on up. Starting 17th.
Derek Cope followed by Lake Speed and then Kenny Wallace. Mike Wallace among those who did not make this event. Up front it is still Terry Labonte with about a 5-car length lead on Mark Martin. Then comes Ken Schrader, Ricky Craven, and Bobby Hamilton. So Craven running well here in the race.
There we can see almost the entire field going by. There's Bill Elliott, who had the Take a Champions provision to get in the race. On the outside of Dick Trickle, the 19 car, the Health Source car. This is Hud Strickland, the Circuit City car.
Michael Waltrip is up ahead in the, a little contact between Michael Waltrip and Dick Trickle. Waltrip in the Citgo car for the Wood Brothers.
These cars are just a little over a half a lap behind the leader. Or in front of him. They're a little over half a lap behind, a little less than half a lap in front of him.
Hud Strickland, his onboard camera, he's running next to last. The 24 car is down to the inside of Kyle Petty, looking for 13th position. Couldn't get it done, though, off the corner.
As a matter of fact, had to get off the throttle enough that he lost 3 or 4 car lengths on Kyle Petty's car. There's Jeremy Mayfield, the RCA car, direct in front. This is a camera on the inside of right rear car of Kyle Petty's automobile.
Good indication of the speed these cars achieve down the straightaway in the corners.
Oh, look, some smoke off the right front fender on Jeff Gordon's car.
Yep.
He's made contact with someone, and the fender's ripping just a little bit.
Yeah, you can see there's a little damage to that right front there. It appears to be.
Jeff Gordon is going for his 3rd win in a row, and nobody has done that since Rusty Wallace in 1994.
Still there, he's coming back.
Kyle Petty on the inside of Jeremy Mayfield, and the spotter told him he's on his way back. He's still there. Now see the right front smoking on Jeff Gordon's car. You can see a little bit better that time.
He did make the pass of Mayfield, however. Both Kyle Petty and Jeff Gordon were able to sneak to the inside of Mayfield and pick up positions.
We can see the fender where it's been knocked in. Once again, Hamilton trying his best to get by the Ricky Craven automobile. That's for 4th.
Terry Labonte has driven away from the rest of the field, leaving Mark Martin 2nd, and then this trio consisting of Schrader. And here is Jeff Gordon now going to the inside of Kyle Petty.
Clear.
Moves up to 12th. So Jeff Gordon is moving up while Terry Labonte, his 513th consecutive NASCAR Winston Cup start, leads the First Union 400. 3 laps into the 400-lap First Union 400. Terry Labonte, who started on the pole, is the leader of the race. Jeff Gordon, meanwhile, has just moved into the top 10, passing Ted Musgrave. And you can see right ahead of Jeff is the driver who started on the outside of the front row, but who has dropped back to 9th, Elton Sawyer.
Well, experience at this racetrack is just invaluable. Ned and I talked about at the top of the show, and knowing exactly what experience will tell you what you need to do, I think, to help fix the car on Saturday afternoon. And Elton will be much better the next time he runs it. There we see Elton back in 9th spot. Jeff Gordon trying to get by him. This is a battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Kenny Schrader in 25. Ricky Craven in 41. Sterling Marlin in number 4. And Bobby Hamilton in 43.
At Schrader just a couple of laps ago, was not able to get by. Meanwhile, Sterling Marlin was able to get by Bobby Hamilton and almost had a run on Ricky Craven.
Craven is driving in only his 3rd race here at North Wilkesboro.
Now he's going to try Schrader on the outside. think that's going to cost him a spot.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. Sterling Marlin positions the Kodak film Chevy to the inside, and Bobby Hamilton is going to come along, it looks like. So that move by Ricky Craven was not the best decision.
It's going to cost him 2 spots. They would be great if someone could get that outside groove worked out.
Yeah, I've seen a couple other drivers tried. Kenny Wallace tried to pass Derek Cope a few laps ago on the outside, and he lost about 3 positions.
Robert Presley has now moved up on the back of Ricky Craven. And now we see the first car being lapped. That is Joe Nemechek being lapped by leader Labonte. Here's a Napa field summary. Numbers in parentheses indicate their starting position. Rusty Wallace has moved to 8th from 12th. Presley from 11th to 7th. There is the second place car of Mark Martin.
Camera on board with Mark Martin.
Now Sterling Marlin moves into 3rd position, passing Ken Schrader.
Well, Schrader gave him plenty of running room there going into turn 3 and took advantage of it.
Schrader quickly moved back to the inside and blocked Bobby Hamilton getting by. Meanwhile, Robert Presley, the 33 Skoal cars, has caught the 41 of Ricky Craven and is making a move on him.
These are the 2 drivers who battled for Rookie of the Year status last year in Winston Cup racing. The honor went to Ricky Craven, but Craven has just been passed by Presley. Here's Steve Grissom, Dale Earnhardt, and Lake Speed. And that's back at about 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Earnhardt's moved up 10 positions so far.
Now Hamilton finally gets on the inside of Schrader. They swap a little sheet metal, a little rubber, going down in the corner. And Hamilton gets the back end out of shape as he comes off the corner.
Yeah, those tires are beginning to get heated up a little bit. And as they come off the corner, we're going to see more slipping and sliding.
There we saw Presley do the same thing. And yesterday afternoon, they said at 30 laps, that was the magic number. At 30 laps, they really started seeing a big difference. And now we've been 35 laps, so there is a difference. Rusty Wallace closed up on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon.
You can see by your scoring pylon on the left that Gordon is in 24, 8th position, and Rusty Wallace in 9th. Jerry, what's the situation regarding tires?
Jeff Gordon does have a slight right front tire rub on the car number 24 as you watch it from Rusty Wallace and road cam. Gordon apparently tapped Kyle Petty coming to the field early on. Ray Everett a moment ago told Jeff that, hey, don't worry about it, champ. Don't worry. Just keep digging. And by the way, be smooth. Keep those tires and brakes very cool.
Yeah, that's one problem. That's one problem that, like Earnhardt and Grissom, these guys having to fight their way to the front, is you use up so much brake in the traffic.
Jeremy Mayfield loses a couple of positions here in the 98 car as both Dale Earnhardt and Steve Grissom. That puts Dale Earnhardt up into 14th at the moment, about to take 13th from Kenny Wallace. And he does.
Is in big traffic. He's on the outside of Dick Trickle, and there's a couple of cars running in front of him. Jimmy Spencer, his car apparently has gone away. He's lost about 10 positions in the last 4 laps. Jimmy started 18th, and he's now back to about 36th, as a matter of fact.
Terry Labonte hung up in some traffic. It allows Mark Martin to close in. And the teammates of Gordon and Schrader swap positions as Jeff Gordon has moved into the top 5. So it didn't take Jeff long to move up from his 17th starting position into the top 5. He did so in 40 laps. There is the car that he has his sights on, Robert Presley.
And that car has his sights on a lot of people too. He is moving through the field. Robert Presley is in 4th position and really running great. He started 11th, So he's picked up 7 positions against some tough competition.
But it's all Terry Labonte at the front of the field, followed by Mark Martin, then Sterling Marlin, Robert Presley, and Jeff Gordon with 41 of the 400 completed. Jenkins, along with Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway, the First Union 400. There is the leader of the race and the pole sitter, looking for $129,200 in Unicount bonus money if he can win this race. Terry Labonte. The 2-car of Rusty Wallace is looking for 6th position. To the inside of Ken Schrader.
Rusty started 12th and moves into 6th. And Bobby Hamilton once again trying to get alongside. Looks like he has Schrader this time. At least has position on him.
Look who's coming up over there. Musgrave in the car number 16. He's coming on up through the pack as well.
Started in 6th spot, Ned, but he had fallen back. Now it looks like he's on the way, on the march again.
And we have a battle for 2nd position as Sterling Marlin has been on a tear and now moves to the inside of and takes the position from Mark Martin.
We went to break. We saw Dick Trickle in front of the leader, Terry Labonte. He's still in front of the leader, Terry Labonte.
Jeff Gordon continues to run in 5th. But our AutoZone on-track interval shows that he reduced the interval between himself and the leader, Terry Labonte, from 6.3 seconds on lap 42 down to 4.5 seconds on lap 46.
But Labonte is just an atrocious traffic. And again, I'm not saying that these guys are bad. It's just that these fellows are racing their hearts out trying to stay in the lead lap as they're tricked once again.
And just put a lap on the outside pole sitter. Eldon Sawyer running in 32nd position.
He has dropped back quickly. How about Dale Jarrett, our points leader? He's 23rd at the moment in the Ford Quality Care machine.
Lake Speed directly in front of him.
And the outside pole sitter, Eldon Sawyer, is coming into the pits. He's fought those tires as long as he can fight them.
He lost a lap and then rather quickly moved in for a tire change. There's the leader, Terry Labonte, now behind Dick Trickle. Work going on the right side of Sawyer's car, Jerry.
And Mike Hill, the rookie, just told me that Elton said the car is just spinning coming off the corner. The car has gotten so loose. He does have some marks on the left rear fender where he has gotten into somebody. The car just will not grip the racetrack, so they had to pit for fresh rubber.
Mike Hill, with a lot of experience here at North Wilkesboro, used to work for Junior Johnson, and so it was not that much of a surprise when we saw Elton take the outside pole.
Now, Bobby Labonte was lapped just a couple of minutes ago. Now he's trying to get back by Terry.
Trying to get back by his brother.
And look at how close Sterling Marlin is to the leader, Terry Labonte. Just 1 car separating, and that's the brother, Bobby.
And that 27 car of Eldon Sawyer came out among that pack after getting those new tires. Now we'll see him blow them off and go on. Boy, it feels good. Car getting traction coming off of those turns.
Here's Ernie Irvin in the 28 and Johnny Benson in the 30. That's the battle for 14th. Ernie to 14th, Johnny to 15th. The 16th car is Kenny Wallace.
Ernie started in 22nd position.
Oh, the 9 car's up against the wall down in turn 1, but
no caution.
No caution. Is the right front tire flat on the car? Looks like it is.
Lake Speed getting to the inside. Hey, look at this, a battle for the lead. Marlin to the inside of Terry Labonte, and Sterling easily takes the lead from Terry.
Terry Labonte said, okay, Sterling, you go up there and see if you can get my Dick Trickle. I've been trying for 30 laps, 20 laps anyway.
Sterling Marlin started in 8th position and is now the leader of the race, but pit stops should be coming up rather quickly as the drivers recognize a need for new rubber. We'll take a break and be right back to North Wilkesboro.
Since NASCAR first began, there have been over 1,000 races with more than 10,000 drivers and mechanics. and millions of spectators. And as NASCAR continues to grow even bigger, so has the one-part store serious enough to be the only official auto parts store in the history of NASCAR. Western Auto and Western Auto's new Parts America.
Sterling Marlin, who finished 7th last year as the leader of the race. This is the third time that he has led here at this racetrack in 21 starts. Pit stops being made. Bill Elliott in for a change of rubber. The 9 car of Lake Speed also in.
So making the chassis adjustment on the McDonald's Ford while the car was in.
Bill Elliott is away in the McDonald's Ford.
So the span car of Lake Speed also in the pits.
One of those pitting up in around turn 3, between turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, there are no
miles an hour.
There are no back pits here. It's all one, but it starts way over in turn number 3. Now a couple of other cars. As Lake Speed goes out, Jimmy Spencer comes in the 23.
Boy, Jimmy has really been fighting that car.
Terry Labonte loses second spot to Robert Presley. And here comes Jeff Gordon. And he'll take over the 3rd spot.
A little loose coming off the corner, as it's pretty evident that a lot of people would love to have a change of tires.
Without being the first one in there to do it. Or they'd love to have a caution flag once again.
Well, they're working the 68th lap, so some of them have gone farther than we thought they might. We were thinking 50 to 60 laps, but Goodyear, as several drivers have said, they've brought a good tire here. That's maybe a little harder than they've had in the past, slowed down the qualifying speed, but makes it better for these kinds of conditions.
Mark Martin in the number 6 car was 2nd for a while, but he's fallen back to 5th. We look back on Michael Waltrip.
And we see that Dale Earnhardt in the gimmicks Chevrolet has worked his way up to 6th spot. There he is.
And the guy that's next in line behind Earnhardt is Ernie Irvan. Ernie has worked his way from 22nd position up to 7th.
Dale Earnhardt started 26th. As you can see, has moved up to 6th place. He is the defending champion of this race. Wally Dallenbach comes in. Wally lost a lap a few laps ago and decided to come in for a change of rubber. This is the Hayes Modem Ford. Left side rubber being changed while the 42 car of Kyle Petty is on pit road looking for his assigned pit area. Going by Wally Dallenbach.
35 miles per hour the speed on pit road. Now comes the stop. They're holding the 15 car. We see the official. Let's watch his tire change. Slam it on there.
Got some stickers, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they want. So sticker tires. Never been on the car, on the track.
Don't go up.
Oh, what's about the jack? Can't get the jack under.
Oh boy, that's going to cost him several extra seconds. He should be finished and out of here by now. And
Go. All the way out. All the way.
Almost
Rusty Wallace about to come.
Car, get the car.
There's the leader going by Sterling Marlin. Now Kyle says, but just stay green for a little bit. I'll be able to pass him and get one of these laps back I've lost.
Here comes Sterling Marlin lapping Jeff Bodine as Rusty Wallace has dived onto pit road in the Miller Ford. Jerry Punch, he's coming toward you.
Well, a 3-time winner here. Rusty having a plan to be very, very consistent, very smooth, moving his way toward the front, which is indeed what he was doing, and now makes his first scheduled pit stop, lap 74 for tires. Remember, they can go 125 to 140 on fuel, but only half that way on tires. Right side tires have gone on, left side tires have gone on, and Rusty is down and away. The 25 car of Kenny Schrader heads down pit road, and Jeff Gordon also bringing the DuPont Chevy down pits. And the car number 43, that is King Richard Petty's car. The winningest driver of the Wilkesboro Speedway, Bobby Hamilton, had a great qualifying effort, qualifying fourth. The SDG Pontiac crew not going to work on the right side of that machine. Further up pit road, they already changed right side tires. They've already changed left side tires now. on Kenny Schrader. 33 is in. They're making a huge chassis adjustment on the 43 car. The car number 4, the Kodak Chevy, is in. Back to the 24 car. They're changing right and left side tires. 4-tire change on Jeff Gordon. 21.6, and he is down as Marlin left side tires now getting put on the Kodak Chevy. Sterling Marlin has one of the quicker cars here in the early part of the race, and now he is off the jack down and away. Dale Jarrett's in front of John Kernan. Turn number 3, Dale Jarrett's crew 2 rounds to bite the car very loose. It will be a 4-tire change. They're in the very first pit stall as you enter pit road. They'll also make an adjustment on the left side of the car, the left rear. Left side tires going on, letting us being tightened off the jack. Dale Jarrett's down and away. A really good pit stop. Let's go to Bill Weber and Bobby Labonte's pit.
Bobby Labonte in. They've already changed the right side tires, working on the left side tires to make the chassis adjustment. Fuel is in, working on the left front, and Interstate Batteries car. Terry Punch in Terry's pit.
Pole Center, Texas, Terry, already right side tires. They have made no chassis adjustment whatsoever on the Kellogg Chevrolet. Left side tires, left front, left rear on, lug nuts tighten. They say it's full of gas. They pull the jack, and he is down and away. 20.4. Back to you, Bill Weber.
And Ernie Irvin is in the pits in his 28 car. This car is running extremely well. I talked to the crew earlier. They didn't say they said they hadn't had any problems. To John Kernan.
4-tire change for Ricky Rudd. Earlier in the race, they were contemplating pitting for water because the car was overheating, but the temperature gauge went down, so Ricky stayed out. Now he's out and headed down your way, Bill Weber.
And John Andretti sits on pit road in the 37 car. They're working on the left sides now, got the right sides on. Andretti with plenty of fuel now. They wait on the left front, still working on it, trying to tighten the lugs, and away goes the 37.
Wow, a flurry of pit stop activity. Here is Morgan Shepherd making a stop in the Remington Arms Ford. Butch Mach-own team going to work on the right side, changing the rubber now around to the left side as the fuel continues to go in. Morgan picked up the lead there for a moment. I don't know whether he'll be given credit for leading a lap, but he did pick up the lead momentarily. Joe Nemechek also coming in for a stop. Should complete now the entire cycle of those who need to come in for a pit stop. Brett Bodine also in the Lowe's Ford.
I believe this might be the second time Brett has been in. I'm pretty sure he stopped early. They only changed right side tire this time, so he must have had a tire equalizer or something, because this was the second time that he came in.
That should give the lead back to Sterling Marlin. Here's a battle between Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte. Rusty Wallace in the last 25 short track races has an average finish of 3.2. Not bad.
But you know, the amazing thing is these guys race for position. They're down in the middle of 1 and 2. And here is Dale Earnhardt up in the middle. Oh, it's a contact between Grissom and Andretti. And Earnhardt is going to try to get by Andretti as well.
Earnhardt moved to 5th in this pit sequence. Let's take a look at the pit stop here. It was a 4-tire change, but it was a quick one.
It was a very quick pit stop. And here is Robert Presley has caught Sterling Marlin. Marlin took him a couple laps to get by Darrell Waltrip. Now let's see how long it takes Presley to get by Darrell.
It was under 19-second pit stop for Dale Earnhardt. But the leader is Sterling Marlin. Robert Presley is second, and Dale Earnhardt runs third in the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We'll be right back. It's the first Union 400 NASCAR Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Sterling Marlin is the leader at the end of 93 laps. And tonight, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball heads to the Rockies as Rico Brogna and the Rockies take on Dante Bichette, the 1995 National League Home Run King, on Sunday Night Baseball. The Mets and the Rockies, 8 o'clock Eastern Time tonight.
We got a caution flag. Jimmy Spencer.
First of the day. First caution of the day. Comes on lap 95. And Robert Presley made it to the line first, and he is the leader of this race.
Here he comes down pit road.
Yeah, that happened right in front of the leaders. Somebody tagged Jimmy Spencer and spun him around, and it was right in front of the leaders.
Presley's having the race of his career at the moment. Let's go to John Kearney.
Robert Presley sitting, waiting patiently, getting a drink of water as they do a 4-tire change. Right sides are on. A little problem with the right front tire, it looked like. Andy Petrie taking a little bit longer than usual. But they swing around to the left. Tires come off, go on. They tighten the lug nuts one at a time. Presley waiting, now he's gone.
They were looking at the right front fender like he might have a dent or something, some damage to that right front. Man, look at the chaos in pit road.
Everybody. And it hasn't been too long since they were in, but this caution sent everyone in once again.
Yeah, they'll take every opportunity after they've run 10 or 15 laps to come on in and get some new tires on.
Here comes Terry Labonte out. Mark Martin still waits on pit road on the right side of your screen. Here's a replay of what happened to Jimmy.
Looks like he and Kenny Wallace in the 81 car make contact. And Kenny almost gets tagged from behind, or does get tagged behind by Derek Cope. Almost spins, but meanwhile Spencer goes up, and I don't know if how much damage there was to the car.
Doesn't look like there's a whole lot.
Let's see. Doesn't look too bad.
But it is our first caution, and it comes at almost the 1/4 mark. Here at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, we'll be back after these messages.
Talladega is a technical track. To win there, you got to understand the draft and be able to use it to your advantage. Knowing when to make your move, where to make your move. It's just an all-day drafting chess game. High bank, flat out running, 30-car drafts. You're hooked up in a 200-mile-an-hour freight train, and you can race 500 miles and just win by inches.
Busch Beer is proud to bring you the great tracks of NASCAR, now featuring the Talladega Superspeedway.
That's Talladega. You just run flat out all day long.
As we are under caution for the first time this afternoon because of a spin up in turn number 3 involving Jimmy Spencer.
You see how quickly it happened. Kenny Wallace got on the inside of him. They made contact, and around Spencer goes up to the outside wall, and the leaders were right behind all of this.
And Sterling Marlin, who's leading the race in the 4 car, he hits the brakes to avoid the spinning car, and that just gives the opening that Robert Presley needs in the 33 car, and he takes the lead.
And so Robert Presley is leading for the first time here, Bill.
Okay, we're going to show you something here. These are the tires for the 3 car. This is the right front that Dale Earnhardt started the race on. You can see this right here. This is his right front. This is when he got together with Ernie Irvin. It chewed away at the tires right down to the belt. His team feels he's very fortunate this tire did not go flat while he was still out on the racetrack. And for Ernie Irvin, a little more problem. On his last pit stop, the air gun broke while Joey Knuckles was changing the left front tire. He's now 14th in the order, guys.
Ernie was 7th when he came in, so an unfortunate break there that dropped him back in the pack.
You can see the damage there on the side of Ernie's car. That was from the real early on in the race. That's Dale Earnhardt, I believe.
They made contact up in the 3rd corner earlier on.
Yep. All right, here's a Napa field summary for you as the cars are lining up for a restart. In 2x2, Robert Presley at the front, then Marlin, Earnhardt, Gordon, and Rusty Wallace, the top 5.
All those cars on the lead lap. Right now, we have 17 cars that are currently on the lead lap.
Now, John Andretti is just at the tail end of the lead lap. He's the car behind the pace car. He did not stop during this caution. Now he's on the inside of Robert Presley, hoping to get his lap back here.
Might be ready now.
Well, he pitted later than most of the others, so his tires were not as old as those that had pitted earlier, but still, it doesn't take many laps to lose the good speed out of the tires.
And they start slowing down. Actually, the second lap was slower than they are the first lap. You see Rusty Wallace diving on the inside. And behind here comes Terry Labonte, our pole sitter, Rick Mast. Rick Mast, although it's a lap down, the Hooters car. Martin right behind Terry Labonte.
Martin's running 7th.
See John Andretti getting a little bit out of shape up there.
Terry Labonte in real close communication with Rick Mast.
Yeah, matter of fact, Rick Mast somehow squeezed between John Andretti on the 37 car and Labonte's car.
There you saw the last lap at 112 compared to the pole speed. Oh, Dale Jarrett and Ken Schrader are in trouble.
They got a flat. Dale Jarrett's got a flat left rear tire. That's right. The left rear tire is flat, Ned.
And his is the very first pit stall, as John Kernan told you a few minutes ago, so he had to get on the brakes quickly in order to make the pit stop, but he has arrived. After they get that tire changed, he will have to keep the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit all the way to the first turn.
I think what happened, Nemechek gets into him right here. Yeah. I think that's where his tire gets cut.
Yes, it did. There he goes down the corner. He knows the left rear's flat. And Kenny Schrader follows him up there.
He was lucky, all of those cars back there, they didn't get run over.
Schrader lost several positions because of that. Now, Dale Jarrett is still on pit road. There he clears it and now can accelerate. That's a long way around at 35.
It sure is.
By the same token, though, Jeff Gordon, who, of course, has the first pit stall down in turn number 1, has to get in at 35 miles an hour and go clear around. But when he's finished with his pit stop, he can immediately accelerate.
8th spot between Ted Musgrave, the Family Channel, number 16. The STP Pontiac of Bobby Hamilton, 43.
There's Darrell Waltrip.
Hamilton makes some contact going down in turn 3.
Darrell is already a lap down in 23rd position. Darrell Waltrip has won at this racetrack 10 times, the most recent in 1991. This is from Hut Strickland's car. And John Kernan is there with the tire that came off of Dale Jarrett's car.
Bob, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what happened, but they're going to look at it now. But as we point down here, you can see just a little bit of paint where he got together, maybe with a fender, got the tire cut or pushed it back in, broke the bead. Then once it goes flat, you see what happens. As it goes around, the tread starts to separate. So DJ was lucky he was able to get on the brakes, get in here as quickly as he could, because maybe another lap, who knows, the tire may not have lasted or held up, and DJ would have had problems out there on the racetrack. But he was able to get on the pit road and get the tire change, although it did cost him some valuable time out on the racetrack.
Yeah, it did. It cost him 2 laps, as a matter of fact. Jarrett now back in 32nd position for our points leader. The leader of the race is Robert Presley. This is only his 3rd race here at North Wilkesboro. He's finished 18th and 33rd last year. His best finish in 96 so far is 16th at Richmond. Their 2nd place, Sterling Marlin, and 3rd place, Dale Earnhardt.
This is the camera on top of Dale Earnhardt's Goodrich Chevrolet.
Elton Sawyer, who continues to struggle, started in 2nd position on the outside of the front row. He's currently 31st, and as you guys indicated, you need some experience to do well at North Wilkesboro.
And money. I mean, let's face it, I'm sure that they're not spending the kind of money that some of the other cars are spending, because David Blair, who owns this car, would have to come up with $4 or $5 million a year.
There's Ernie Irvin, who is 15th.
Ernie is the last car on the lead lap. 100%. He's going to have a lot of trouble today. There's no question about that. He's 27 laps down. What the speed is.
Right now, run as fast as you can, but yet try not to abuse the tires. What all these drivers are trying to do is run as fast as you can, but right there, don't nail that gasoline so hard that you spin the rear tires and get the car sideways.
Look at Jeff Gordon moved in on Dale Earnhardt for third place. So Earnhardt has his rear view mirror full of the DuPont Chevrolet driven by Jeff Gordon. Earnhardt is third, Gordon fourth at the moment. Presley, this old machine, is the leader of the First Union 400.
And late speed all of a sudden is picked up and is keeping up with the leaders in the speed.
Presley has led the last 31 laps. Here is Ernie Irvin and Kenny Wallace.
14th position. You're battling for. Ernie just took it over.
And Ernie lost it back in just a tick that time.
Watch the 81 car here.
Oh, a little bit of a bump from the 19 car of Dick Trickle, and it gets Kenny Wallace out of shape.
A little chain reaction that allowed Ernie Irvin to pick up the spot. When we went to commercial break a few minutes ago, Earnhardt was third and Gordon fourth, and they continue to run that way.
Although the 4 car lengths difference between the 2 cars has closed up to nil.
We have had, as you can see by your scoring pylon, Terry Labonte has moved into fifth, putting Rusty Wallace back to sixth place. That occurred during our break.
It's like Terry Labonte might be closing in on those 2 cars.
Yeah, after he passed Rusty Wallace, he began to move away from Rusty, and I think you're right. There's Gordon making a move on Earnhardt, but couldn't quite get the pass.
As you can see, there are 15 cars still on the lead lap as we reach the 131 lap mark.
Sterling Marlin just isn't that far in front of these 2 cars.
We've had 6 leaders today. There is Robert Presley. He's in a whole bunch of traffic at the moment, both in front of him and in back of him. He's coming up on Elton Sawyer. John Kernan has more on this great run by Robert.
Well, you know, Bob, Robert Presley has only run here twice before. This is only his 3rd start here at North Wilkesboro. But he's got an ace in the hole in crew chief Andy Petrie. Petrie has worked with some of the best drivers, or Dale Earnhardt and Gary Mann here. And Petrie has been doing a great job on the radio, coaching Robert, telling him to be smooth, nice and easy, nice and easy. But I tell you what, as good as that car is running right now, it must be hard for Robert to hold it back.
Patience, patience, huh?
Yep, patience, patience. Do not spin the rear tires. Go fast, but don't spin the rear tires. Don't burn up the tires. And we see
a lot of finesse.
Well, you can see the strap by Kyle Petty's head to kind of lessen the G-load on his neck and shoulders as he goes around this racetrack at over 115 miles an hour.
That's for a crash.
Oh, is it?
That's for some kind of crash. I don't know what that is on that. We'll have to check that out.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, we know Kyle was backslid in the field a little bit. They had a problem with the car being very loose prior to that last pit stop under caution. Another car has a terrible push right in the middle of turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. In fact, the crew chief said up in 3 and 4, Kyle looks like he's swatting flies in the car, crossing his arms over to keep the car down across the racetrack with that bad push.
Kyle's 25th now, a lap down, and Sterling Marlin challenges Robert Presley for the lead of this race.
Yes, he does. And look at this on the outside.
It'll be interesting to see if that works.
Nope.
Now he's going to dip to the inside. That worked.
Yes, it did.
Oh, a little bit of contact. Excuse me.
Coming through. And Marlin does. Now there's Dale Earnhardt in third.
And Jeff Gordon's losing the spot right behind him to Terry Labonte.
Labonte goes to fourth. As I mentioned, we've had 6 leaders: Terry Labonte, Presley, Marlin, Shepard, and Ernie Irvin have each all picked up 5 bonus points. There is Ernie Irvin as he's inside of Ken Schrader and goes to 13th.
Darrell Waltrip has been on pit road, just going back out in the Parks America Chevrolet.
This is where Ernie made his comeback, didn't it?
Yep, last fall.
Yep. He's having a good run today. Started 22nd.
Jeff Bodine in the QVC car is a lap down to Ernie Irvin, but the 30 car of Johnny Benson is the next position.
And once again, Johnny Benson is the only rookie in the field, so he has the Rookie of the Year honors pretty much in hand for 1996. Brandon Donald trying to qualify, but could not do it. And Terry Labonte picks off 3rd position from Dale Earnhardt.
He just sit back there real quiet and easy and didn't abuse those tires like Davey said. And just now that those others are slipping and sliding a little bit, he just drives right on up there.
There is the interval between the leaders, Sterling Marlin, and the 3rd place car of Terry Labonte, 1.98 seconds.
He closed 100 for the second that time. So did you see Earnhardt motion Labonte by as he went in the 3rd corner? Put that hand out the window, said, yes, Terry, I realize you're there. Go ahead. You're faster than I am.
Up to 2.03 seconds on that last lap.
Oops.
And here is Ernie Irvin alongside Johnny Benson.
Trying to take over 12th.
And in turn 1.
Ernie's car seems to be really good after longer runs. We saw him in the first long run before they made a pit stop. He started marching up through the field, and now he's been on those tires for a while, and looks like they're working good for him.
Ernie up to 12th position now.
So we see he's gained 0.4 of a second, has Terry Labonte on the leader.
He's right on the 2nd place man.
Yeah, he sure is. And Presley a little loose down there in the corner.
Yeah, I think his tires are very definitely gimmicks.
It's like Morgan Shepard in the Remington car. The 75 car has made some contact with someone with the left front. See the hood's all bowed up.
Kernan, what's the matter with Robert?
Bobby radioed in a few laps ago, right before Marlin got around him, and told his crew chief that, hey, the car is real loose all the way throughout the turn. So they've decided, talked it over on the radio, and when they pit about lap 170, which is about 22 laps from now, they're going to lower the track bar to try and tighten the car up.
He just lost 2nd position to Terry Labonte. So now it's Marlin, Labonte, Presley, Earnhardt, and Gordon in the top 5. That's 1.87 separation between first and second. There is Sterling Marlin maneuvering through traffic, about to put another lap on Brett Bodine, who won his first and only so far NASCAR Winston Cup race at this racetrack, that occurring back in 1990. Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace running right together for 5th and 6th.
Telling me this morning in the garage area that down the front stretch by the start finish line is Rusty Wallace goes by Jeff Gordon, takes over the 5th spot. That down the front stretch, once you get on the gas leak, you never really go wide open. You just place the toe all the way down the front straightaway, right there. Then after, you can do it on fresh tires, just like we talked about in the opening show did on 2 cold tires, 2 laps on cold tires, you can do a lot of things. But after 20, 30 laps, they're never able to go all the way to
These cars have so much horsepower, and that's why we say they changed carburetors, they detuned them, and still they can't do it.
Sterling Marlin is in traffic once again. There he is under Kenny Wallace.
Putting a lap on the 15th place car.
Now only 14 remain on the lead lap. Johnny Benson running in 14th position. It's Marlin, Terry Labonte, Robert Presley, Dale Earnhardt, and Rusty Wallace at the end of 154 of 400 laps in the first Union 400 here in North Wilkesboro. We'll take a break and be right back.
Hi, this is Alan Bestwick. Right after the race, the real Terry Labonte and the real Jeff Gordon join me on NASCAR Shop Talk from the Hendrick Motorsports Museum in Charlotte. The phone lines are open now. Stay with us. NASCAR Shop Talk right after the race.
And there's the leader of the first Union 400, Sterling Marlin, but not too far behind, and catching him is Terry Labonte, the pole sitter.
Yep, he's just easing right in on him. They got through all of that traffic.
Here's the AutoZone on-track interval report. The interval has been reduced from 1.6 seconds to 0.9 on laps 153 through 157, consistently faster than Mr. Marlin. Meanwhile, the 33 car, Robert Presley, continues to hang on for third position, but he is battling a very loose race car. By the way, Johnny Benson has been lapped. We told you before the break that he would be the next car to go down the lap. He has been put down the lap.
And Rusty Wallace has caught him, and you can see Robert Presley's car, the back end, just dancing around.
Here goes Earnhardt down on the inside. He's going to take away that third position. And Rusty is right there, too.
He'll take the spot away. So Presley.
And he's going to lose another one, Benny, because there's Gordon.
Yes, he is.
Here comes Dale Jarrett also passing Presley.
Dale has the fastest car on the racetrack. Of course, he has a few laps less on his tires than anybody else. He was 10 seconds behind these guys when he came out of the pits. And after that flat tire, he has run them down, but he's still 2 laps down.
Yep, in 26th position. And Rusty Wallace moves to third.
Was blowing by Dale Earnhardt.
And Robert Presley has had enough. He cannot go any further on those tires. He has come in for a pit stop.
Got to have some help. Can't blame him. Let's go to the pits and John Kern.
Presley is in for a 4-tire change, some damage. He got into somebody on the right front. They want to make sure to get that fender pulled away. But he had told Andy Petrie that the track is getting slicker and slicker and slicker. They'll go down 1.5 rounds on the track bar, and that will hopefully tighten up the car for Robert. Left side tires going on. Leo Jackson Carlo making sure the windshield is clean. Down and away. Let's go down to Bobby Hamilton's pit and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Familiar STP colors for Bobby Hamilton, Robbie Loomis and company, putting right side tires on the car. Same car that led so many laps at Richmond, Virginia on the first short track race of the year. Left side tires winner. 25 car coming in. That is Kenny Schrader and the Budweiser crew now going to work on that car. Bill Hammer and company, right side tires. Schrader, an outstanding qualifying effort. 25 car still in, getting right side tires. And they'll put... And the 3 and 24 almost touch. They will come down pit road, and they are also calling in Sterling Marlin, our leader. He was going to wait and pit on lap 175. Let's go to Bill and Earnhardt's pit.
Dale Earnhardt zips into his stall. No traffic here. His car is just a little loose. So they've gone down 1 pound of air pressure, working on the right sides. Now around to the left. Jack Man comes around, clean the windshield. Chocolate Myers pours in the fuel. Left front is on, left rear is on. They were going to make a chassis adjustment, but did not. To Sterling Marlin pit Jerry.
Almost simultaneously, Marlin and Terry Labonte pitting about 5 pits apart. Marlin getting right side rubber. Jeff Gordon pitting all the way to the end of pit road. Left front tire man falls down on the Kodak team. They They make a chassis adjustment. Terry Labonte getting service, 4 tires on the Kellogg Chevrolet. Back to Marlin, you're watching. They put left side tires, now left rear adjustment. He is down the way.
Marlin comes out, so does Rusty Wallace. Mark Martin remains on pit road, however. Dale Jarrett coming out. Elton Sawyer coming in. And here's Bill Weber.
And Ernie Irvin come and gone. 4-tire change. Haviland Ford back on the track.
And after all that, the lead lap cars that pitted, Dale Earnhardt will be in front of Rusty Wallace, Robert Presley, and Jeff Gordon. Ever seen Earnhardt go by the 28 car of Ernie Irvin? I guess that will put him a lap down.
I think you're right, Benny. We'll see when it all gets poured out here, but Ernie was about 2/3 of a lap down before they started making pit stops.
So Dale Earnhardt with 5 wins here at North Wilkesboro, 4 wins in this race, and 1 of the fall races up front.
Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon decided to come into the pits at the same time a few laps ago, and
got a little too close, didn't they?
Got very close when they came into the turn. Here they are. Earnhardt dips down, and here comes Gordon in, and he's going to go on the outside of Earnhardt, but that wasn't room out there.
We're all slowing down because that white line that you see right there, that starts the timing procedure for NASCAR and the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit on pit road.
Well, it sounds like that Terry Labonte is the leader of the race. Bill Weber has a follow-up on Earnhardt.
Yeah, just a thought on his pit stops, guys. 18.95 on the first one. That was under green. 21.9 on that green flag stop around lap 100. This last pit stop under green, 18.31 seconds for Ricky Byers and the rest of the Goodwrench crew.
Carefully choreographed moves by all team members as the car comes in for a stop.
That really was a great pit stop by that entire crew.
I thought you said Earnhardt was leading.
Well, no, the cars that pitted that we were covering, he ended up in front of those cars.
Terry Labonte has the lead, and here's a AutoZone off-track time, total time for Terry Labonte and Sterling Marlin.
Oh, I see what you said. You're right. I mean, Terry Labonte, in fact, his crew had the best pit stop of all those cars. Man, I thought he hadn't even pitted for. That's right. He made a pit stop.
Yep.
Boy, am I confused. Thank you, Bob, for straightening me out.
I'm just trying to do as straight as I can. It ain't easy.
Gary G. Hart and the crew, my hat's off to you. Great pit stop.
Terry Labonte up front. Earnhardt second. Rusty's third. Marlin is fourth, and Robert Presley fifth. We'll be right back. Back in North Wilkesboro, where Terry Labonte in number 5, new paint scheme on this car, representative of his Ironman status. He ties Richard Petty's consecutive start streak today at 513. Second place car the fourth place car here is Sterling Marlin. And a few laps ago, as a matter of fact, for more than one lap, he and Ernie Irvin kind of got into it out there.
He was trying to get by Ernie. Ernie has now gone a lap down. He's in 12th position. Sterling comes up, gives him a little bit of a tap. Ernie gets a little bit sideways, but he hangs right on to that position at that time. But then a little bit later, here he comes. Sterling still trying hard to get around Ernie Irvin. This time, as they start off at turn 4, he nudges him. Ernie almost sideways anyway when you come off of that turn, and he really gets him sideways. Gets on the inside of him this time and makes the pass.
And from the Circuit City onboard camera of Hut Strickland's, here's how it looked to him. So Sterling Marlin running in 4th position, Doc.
Oh, a minute ago in the pit stop, you saw the total time on pit road between Sterling Marlin, who lost the lead, and Terry Labonte, who gained it. It doesn't take much. Sterling Marlin's front tire changer, Mark Prater, was running around in front of the car and actually stumbled and fell down. Now, he's just trying to get there a little bit quicker, but by stumbling, it probably cost him maybe 2.5 or seconds. Plus, they put around the bite in the car. So that could have been the difference in leading as you exited pit road and running now where they are in the top 5.
Marlin fourth, Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, and Rusty Wallace are your top 3.
But Strickland had a burst of speed there. He went around Sterling Marlin. But is back in the 25th position, 2 laps down.
Nearing the halfway point. In less than 12 laps, we will be there. Robert Presley ahead of, and Jeremy Mayfield is spun down in the 4th turn. And caution. Don't think so.
No, don't worry about it. Keep going.
No caution flag.
Wow.
Turn his ass down.
And we see.
Okay, just hang in there.
Fender is rubbing the left front tire.
Rubber's on the tire.
Yeah, it sure is. Rather badly.
That front fender's in on the tire, Tony. Hey, Red, we'll have to come in and pull that tire off the fender.
The spotter telling Tony Furr that the sheet metal is rubbing on the left side. Here it is from Dale Earnhardt's onboard camera. That's Jeremy just ahead of him.
Made contact, and around he goes. Earnhardt just a little bit of a tap.
I would want to be driving a race car as fast as Jeremy is with the tire rubbing like that.
Well, it's not as bad since it's the left front as it would be if it were the right front. Then you would really, really be concerned.
Yeah.
Well, the spotter told Tony that it was rubbing, and rather badly, so he knows. And he's just hoping against hope that there'll be a caution flag, that they'll be able to go in and fix that problem on the caution flag. That's our 7th place car, Martin. You know, by the way, there was the officials talking to Jeremy Mayfield.
Last car on the lead lap is Derek Cope. Was the last car on the lead lap. Now he's a lap down, and there are 9 cars now in the lead lap, and the next to go a lap down in 9th place would be Ted Musgrave.
He's about a full straightaway in front of Terry Labonte, the leader of the race, the Kellogg's car, so it'll be some time before Musgrave is caught by Labonte.
Derek Cope hung there a long time. He stayed in front of Labonte there for 15 or maybe 20 laps, just right in front of him, but finally Terry patiently got up there and got around him.
Terry Labonte has climbed from 30th to 5th in the points since Rockingham. He has a 1.8-second interval on Dale Earnhardt and about an 8.3-second advantage on the top 5.
There's Earnhardt, and Rusty Wallace is just not that far away from Dale Earnhardt. There he is, about 10 or 15 car lengths, but it's maintained that same. He has maintained that same advantage for past 15 or 20 laps.
Now Petty's just coming into the pits.
There's 4th place Sterling Marlin. Petty, as you indicated, Ned, is coming in for another stop.
And Terry Labonte, the next time by, will take the cross flags for halfway, and he'll pick up the $10,000 Gatorade Award for leader at halfway.
And with the 200th lap completed, Terry Labonte has now led 88 of the first 200 laps. Here he comes off the 4th corner, and there are the cross flags. We're halfway through the first Union 400 on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in the brushy mountains of North Carolina. He's going for $129,200 in Unical bonus money that will be awarded to him and only him as the pole sitter should he win this race. Back in just a moment. all kinds of racing going on throughout the country today. We'll have it all for you reported on RPM tonight. John Andretti is coming in for a pit stop as Terry Labonte continues to lead. Let's go to the pit area.
Well, the struggle for this crew continues to go around to the right side. Plenty of fuel in. John Andretti has some left rear quarter panel damage. Right side tires are on. Swing around to the left side. Remember, these guys missed the Bristol race. Qualified 20th here. Working on lap 211. Left side tires are on. And Andretti goes back out. 23 seconds and change.
On the racetrack, a battle for second position. Rusty Wallace has caught Dale Earnhardt.
Yes, he has. Tried to get under the Goodrich Chevrolet coming off turn 2. Almost had it. Had to back off. NASCAR drifts up the racetrack now. Rusty will try again to dive on the inside. Earnhardt didn't drift up enough.
Yeah, he's
Here
got
it goes.
Yep.
Those cars get way down on that cement there on the side of turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, they get very low going in there.
So Rusty goes to second, dropping Earnhardt back to third spot. Now watch him hit this concrete.
Just touched it that time.
They didn't get as low as they have been.
You're right. They're right on the combination asphalt cement. Can he catch the leader, Terry Labonte? You can almost see Labonte from Earnhardt's car.
There's the 5 car of Labonte. The last time he led a race here in North Wilkesboro, he won it. That was this race back in '94.
And there we see Ted Musgrave. We mentioned a moment ago that he was the last car in the lead lap, and I said Labonte was quite a distance behind him. Well, not anymore. Look at Steve Grissom go. He must have been in the pits and changed tires.
You're right. They not too long ago. Kenny Wallace is in the pits right now. Kenny was being shown in the 18th position.
And Kyle Petty's been in the pits and changed some tires, so he's trying to go by Earnhardt on the outside and does.
Napa Field Summary showed you only 8 cars on the lead lap past the halfway point. John Kernan. Grissom was in for that stop, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, Bob. They took on 4 sticker tires, and Bill Engel decided the car was so loose, he couldn't hardly drive it, that they added 4 rounds of bite into that car. A major chassis adjustment for Grissom.
Second place car. And once again, remember last fall that every car finished this race here in North Wilkesboro? Well, that's right. We're in the same scenario because every car is still running that started the event.
Jimmy's picture coming up.
Excellent performance on the short tracks. Rusty Wallace has not won a race since Richmond of last year on the 3/4-mile track there.
And Earnhardt is closing back up on the bumper of Rusty Wallace.
Last car on the lead lap is now Mark Martin in the 6th as Ricky Craven has gone a lap down. And we're on top of Mark Martin's car. That's John Andretti just ahead.
No, Ricky Craven has not gone a lap down yet. He is just in front of the leader.
Okay.
Yep, he is indeed. Martin is about, he's more than a straightaway in front of Terry Labonte, so he's no danger for him like that.
You know, while we're riding along with Martin, I'd like to congratulate a couple of young men. I was with Valvoline invited me to New York last week to a National Automotive Technology competition. Had 22 teams. There we see Earnhardt trying to take over second spot from Rusty Wallace, and does it. Had a competition with 22 teams, and let's see, Harry Callahan and Jeff Cancredi of Goshen, New York were the winners. Their teacher, Tony Galtari. And the boys, a job well done. Those kids are so bright, Bob. It was amazing. Every one of them.
troubleshooting type thing, trying to figure out what's wrong and then fixing it?
And then fixing it. Yes, had 5 things wrong with an automobile. They had to diagnose the problem and look it up in the book, show her in the manuals, where to find it in the manuals, go get the parts and repair the problem.
Good job, guys. Now we're with Rusty Wallace as he's brought back to 3rd spot. More pit stops should be coming up within the next 10 laps. This has been mostly a green flag race here at North Wilkesboro. Back in just a moment. The First Union 400 here at North Wilkesboro Speedway is 231 laps old. Out of the 400, Terry Labonte is the leader. He started from the pole, and the last to win this race from that position was Terry in April of '88 when they didn't offer the Unical bonus money. Now, we have had the first of those among those on the lead lap to come in. Robert Presley has already been in, and here comes Rusty Wallace.
Johnny Benson sitting on pit road, the Pennzoil Pontiac.
Jeremy Mayfield is in, so is Elton Sawyer.
Mark Marsh coming in.
Here's Jerry.
And the Rusty Wallace crew going to work on Ronnie. That's the race car's name that won at Martinsville last year. Right side tires, and they scurry around the left side of the car. Left side tires for Miller, Genuine, Draft Ford, Thunderbird. Meanwhile, cars in front of Rusty have now moved away. That was Jeremy Mayfield. They're waving the pit board for Bobby Hamilton. Martin also in. Right side tires on Mark Martin. Rusty's headed back to turn 1. Now the Valvoline crew continuing to work. Left side tires, Steve Neal and company servicing Mark Martin's car number 6 as he gets his completed pit work on lap 234. He is down and away. 43 is in Bobby Hamilton. Right side tires going on the Hamilton car, the STP Pontiac. Left side tires going on. No chassis adjustment whatsoever on Hamilton's car. And right above him, Ken Slater brings the Budweiser Chevy on the pit road. So pit work continuing. We would expect to see the leader as we see the Bobby Hamilton car down and away. The leader will pit with the 3 car, we are told. The 8 cars in, we are told that the 5 and the 3 car will pit together in about 4 or 5 laps. The 25 car in, left side tires, and the 4 car, the Kodak Chevy of Sterling Marlin, 35 miles an hour. You see Kenny Slater leaving in Budweiser Chevrolet. As the car number 4 heads down pit road, we have been told that Terry Labonte will pit next time by. Earnhardt and Terry Labonte will pit next time by. Earnhardt on pit road. As you see, work continuing on the right side of the Kodak Chevrolet. Sterling Marlin's crew cleaning the windshield. This time, Mark Prater does not fall down and go to the left front of the car. Jeff Gordon coming down pit road, 35 miles an hour. Earnhardt's Goodrich crew working on his machine. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Dale Earnhardt in the pits, as you see from the crew cam, working on the left side. They've already got the right sides on. In the windshield, plenty of fuel. Dale Earnhardt, a 5-time winner at this track, has to nudge his way past Beckodon, returns to pit road. Race continues. Third punch with Terry Labonte.
And a 3-time winner here, North Wilkesboro, comes in for his scheduled pit stop 2 times. Those wins have come in the spring event, including 2 years ago. They scrubbed that windshield, then to the left side of the car, left front, left rear. Once again, they're scrubbing and cleaning that windshield. No chassis change whatsoever, and Terry Labonte is down. Let's go to Ricky Rudd's pit and John Kernan.
Right in the middle of a 4-tire change. Right side's already on, left side's going on. Ricky Rudd sitting where he's car, making sure that the grill is clean. Drop the jack. Oh, it didn't go into gear. That cost right about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. Car did not go into gear when he popped the clutch the first time. And Ernie Irvin is in and out.
Ricky Craven picks up the lead briefly. However, he comes in, Bill.
35 miles an hour. Ricky Craven brings his Kodiak Chevrolet into the pit. Charlie Cecily watches from high on the box. They go to the right side. Of course, this will be 4 tires. These guys are running, they make a chassis adjustment, running exactly the way they wanted to. They wanted to hang on the lead lap and be there for the last 100, then make their move around to the left side. The left front is off, working on the left rear. They've got them off, tightening the lugs, waiting to dump the track. 41's away, Labonte's in, John is there.
Change for Bobby Labonte. Left side tires going on. A little problem with the left front. Now he's down and away. They also made a track bar adjustment. They went down about a round on the track bar, which means the car was loose. They were trying to tighten it up.
Rusty Wallace is now the leader of the race.
Two things. He made an awful good pit stop, and also he pitted several laps before the others did. He went out there and he's running about 3/4 of a second faster than they were on those 5 or 6 laps before they came into pits.
Watch Earnhardt here. He slid through somebody else's pit besides himself. His own.
There we see on board the Goodrich Chevrolet as he tries to run down Terry Labonte. Right now, Earnhardt is in 3rd place. There's the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace, as he had a little smoke out of the 7 car, Jeff Gordon.
So it's Rusty, then Terry, Earnhardt, Marlin, Presley, Gordon, and Martin. The top 7, those on the lead lap. There's Terry, 2nd place.
Kyle Petty back in the pits again. He's making more frequent pit stops than most of the others.
There's the 3rd place car, Dale Earnhardt.
Coming up on a very loose Jimmy Spencer.
There's the 4th place car. Martin's on 41. There was not a lap down. Ricky Craven, he now, in fact, is a lap down in 8th spot.
He was not far in front of the leaders before they made their pit stops. In fact, he stayed out there and led that lap. Cost him some extra time also.
5th and 6th running right together. Robert Presley and Jeff Gordon. And the only other car on the lead lap, quite a bit behind Jeff Gordon, is Mark Martin. 46 laps completed, just a little over 150 to go in the first Union 400. Rusty Wallace leading at the moment. Back in a moment. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards of engine protection.
Sometimes during the race, we see a car make contact, go down and smack the wall with the tires, creating a toe-out or toe-in problem. We can see Ward Burton's tires going in different directions. How would they adjust this and bring the car to pit road? This is inside the garage area. Felipe Lopez, the Circuit City crew, they're using a simple string. They line up the front tire with the rear tire with a string. We see Felipe bouncing the tire with his hand, getting it lined up. The string has to hit the front of the tire and the rear to be lined up. Perfect. Bring the string across to the left side. Put it on the rear tire. Now we go around to the front. We're looking for about 1/8 of an inch. Let's see what we've got. It's hitting the front of the tire. A heavy 1/8 of an inch toe out. How do they make these adjustments? With a tie rod assembly. Here we are, the sleeve in the middle that hooks the tie rod into the tie rod turns. If you shorten the sleeve, if you shorten the assembly, it will tow the car in. If you lengthen the assembly, it will tow the car out. So loosen the bolts, adjust it, tighten the bolts, the car is ready to go back on the racetrack. And there we see the right rear tire on Kyle Petty's car with our camera. And look at how it dances around. Toe-in on the rear, if you do something about that, you can't repair it because the rear axle housing is a solid piece.
Professor Parsons, you do pretty good at that, you know? I can understand it.
Rusty Wallace. And, you know, he's getting a break right now because the 2nd place car of Terry Labonte is just in some heavy, heavy traffic.
Rusty's sitting out there running pretty free. Is coming up on Bobby Hamilton there. It took Bobby 2 laps down. Bobby's in 13th position.
6 Chevys, 4 Fords in the top 10, with the Ford leading the race at the moment.
Now Rusty's in heavy traffic himself.
Johnny Benson over on the right that he'll pass easily going into turn number 1. Johnny is 2 laps down, make that 3 laps down now at 21st spot.
Car looks none the worse for the wear. No tire marks, no beating and banging. You'll not have to worry about setting the toe in with a string on pit road.
A little bit of a mark there on the left side. Rusty's car looks pretty clean.
Well, that's what it takes, is to have a good, fast car.
He dives to the inside.
Not yet. Fran Field summary for you. 7 cars on the lead lap. Labonte has improved from 28 starting position.
There we see Michael Waltrip in the 21 and Jeff Gordon in the 7. They're battling for what spot, Ned?
It's 23rd and 24th. They're 3 laps down, but going hard at it. There's Bobby Labonte right in the middle. He's 2 laps down. Bobby is currently being shown in 14th position.
This was the traffic that Terry Labonte, there we see him up in front of Johnny Benson. That was the traffic that he had to work himself through, his car through, and finally was able to do that. Now Michael tries to get on the inside of Benson and doesn't.
Yep. He'll go into 22nd position. There is Terry Labonte, who is in 2nd. Bill Elliott is right behind him, and Bill is in 21st. Terry Labonte has 4 straight top 10 finishes and is 5th in the point standings, 114 out of the lead.
There's a 3rd place car of Dale Earnhardt. He's in that heavy traffic now.
Oh, that is a gaggle of them there.
Rusty's all by himself, though. He's got a clear racetrack ahead of him.
Yeah, almost a straightaway.
Yep.
No track. Yeah, that's nice to be in that position.
Earnhardt, he's working his way through about half the traffic, but still has about 6 cars in front of him.
Interval up to more than 5 seconds now. Rusty's last 8 races here at North Wilkesboro have all been in the top 4 since 1992.
4-24, that's a battle for 4 spots. Sterling Marlin, Kodak Bell, Chevrolet.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon has come from about 3 seconds down in the last 15 or so laps and has caught Sterling. Sterling ran up on all of that traffic, so he's had a sort of a tough time getting through there. But that helps Jeff Gordon catch him, but I think Jeff's one of those cars that longer he runs that it doesn't slow down quite as much as some of the others do.
While Terry Labonte started his 513th consecutive race here this afternoon, Jeff Gordon started his 100th. He has swept the short track season so far this year, winning Richmond and Bristol.
So he's only got 413 more to go to time Labonte.
Now, when will that happen, you suppose? About what? 13 so years from now?
Yep, 2010 or something like that.
Yep. But Jeff Gordon achieved his first 12 wins much earlier than Dale Earnhardt did. In his first 99 Winston Cup races, Dale Earnhardt only had 6 victories, 4 poles, 60 top 10s, and had led 2,095 laps, whereas Jeff won his 12th race in 99 starts, 10 poles, 52 top 10s, and 3,771 laps led.
Yeah, but Earnhardt's got 7 championships, and Gordon has 1.
Right.
And they see the Jeff Gordon car has been in bits and comes out with those fresh tires and just blows right by.
Jeff is 33rd in 5 laps down. 33rd position, 5 laps down for Jeff Burton. We're going to take another break and be back with more live coverage from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina of the First Union 400. ESPN Speed World coverage of the First Union 400 from North Wilkesboro is being brought to you by Molson Ice. Step outside. By AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. And by Pontiac, proud sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. We are driving excitement. Did he do it? Did he do it?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, all during the break, we thought, is he going to do it before we come back? Yeah, he did. Here's how he did it.
Rusty goes out in turn 1. Labonte gets on the inside. Goes in the corner, has that position. Labonte's car sticks, gets on the gas, and just accelerates past the Miller Genuine Graphic. It's the Miller Ford, isn't it? Yeah, it's the Miller Ford. And we see Mark Martin right in front of Terry Labonte, and Martin's car has slowed dramatically in the last couple of laps. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but...
And Mark is 6th, though now there are other 7, so now there are 6 cars on the lead lap as Mark Martin goes a lap down. Robert Presley's in. John?
Well, they're about 14 laps before they wanted to come in. They wanted to come in about 298, but the car, remember they made that track bar adjustment the last pit stop? Well, it tightened the car up way too much. Robert couldn't hardly drive it. Got the left side tires on. Robert's down and away. The car was just so tight that just wouldn't want to turn when he could go into the turn or come out. It wanted to push way up against the wall, so they brought it back in, and they made a major track bar adjustment trying to get it back to where it was. But of course, remember where it was, he was loose.
Mark Martin has come on to pit road also. He lost the lap and immediately comes in.
Yeah, he slowed dramatically just a few laps before the leaders went by him, so...
Mark Martin comes into this race 7th in the point standings, a long way down pit road to his pit stall. He finally makes it, and the crew goes to work on the right side.
You see him putting the wrench in the right rear to make that chassis adjustment. Backing it off, putting some wedge in. 1 round of wedge in the car. That's trying to tighten it up a little bit. The car too loose.
Rusty Wallace about to come in. Rusty stopped a little bit before the other time, remember, before Labonte did. So he's coming down pit road. He and Ted Musgrave both.
Just a little less than 21-second pit stop for Mark Martin. Now Rusty Wallace.
Got about 112 laps to go, so that means 55, 56 laps on each run, which they can do that. And have pretty good rubber on the tires, pretty good speed. Sterling Marlin coming in as well.
Let's get down to Jerry Punch.
Well, he put right side tires, now putting left side tires on Rusty Wallace's car. Rusty said the car had just gone completely away. Just like this, suddenly the car went away and got very, very loose. They had no choice but to come in and pit. Now the 43 and the 4 pitting almost nose to tail on pit road. They have put right side tires already on Bobby Hamilton's car. They run to the left side of that machine. Now right side lug nuts going on the Delco Kodak Chevrolet. Left side now crew. Jack underneath the Sterling Marlin car. As Bobby Hamilton's car now will come off the jack. He drops it as away. Sterling Marlin's jack is full, and he is also exiting pit road. And the car number 24 headed down pit road. That is Jeff Gordon, the reigning Winston Cup champion, number 30 miles an hour. They are clocking the speeds very, very carefully. And DuPont Chevy that have been making up lots of ground on the racetrack. They've been taking care of those tires. And now he will go all the way down to the very end of pit road where the crew will go to work and change 4 tires. Ray Evernham and Company. Jack beneath the right side of the car. Right front and right rear going on, and Dale Earnhardt is in front of Bill Weber.
Earnhardt is in, of course, a 4th tire change, and they'll pump in the fuel. Richard Childress told Dale Earnhardt that it's about 15 degrees warmer than when we started this race, so they were going to make an air pressure adjustment, drop each of the tires 1 pound, working on the left front, taking a long time. Now it's on. Earnhardt's away down to Jerry Punch.
Terry Labonte in as Dale Earnhardt exits pit road. Terry Labonte getting service on his car. He now exits pit road after a quick 4-tire change. The car wiggles a little bit. He comes back up to speed, and Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin go by the 5 car.
Ricky Craven, Derek Cope, Morgan Shepherd, Ernie Irvin all making pit stops right now as Terry Labonte gets the car back up to speed.
Rusty Wallace will be in front of Terry Labonte. But once again, Rusty stopped a few laps before did Terry Labonte. And those 4 or 5 laps that Rusty Wallace was on the racetrack, he probably ran a second a lap faster than Terry Labonte. So that means he should be about 5 seconds in front of him.
Rusty maneuvering through traffic to the inside of Ricky Rudd, who had a bad crash at Martinsville testing last Monday. Had to go to the backup car and then take a provisional to get into the field here today. Here comes Rusty to the inside of Brett Bodine.
Rusty Wallace.
Here's the battle for 4th position between Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin.
So they're still battling.
Yep.
Even after a pit stop, they're battling.
Ricky Rudd is in. Here's John.
Well, Ricky's car just a lot of rubber on it, a little bit of dent on the left front fender, but other than that, it's very clean. 1 lap down, running in 9th. And they get the left side tires off, going on. Ricky's sitting in the car. Remember last time, and what did he do when they dropped the jacker and popped out here? This time, there's not a problem like that run down and away after a 4-tire change, no adjustments.
Moved through some traffic. Jeff got a car length or so advantage on Sterling, but Sterling may be closing that gap once again now that he's cleared Michael Waltrip.
Michael just made a pit stop. He is now 3 laps down in 21st position.
Once again, all cars are still running. This would be the 2nd North Wilkesboro race in a row that all cars would be running at the finish if it goes that way, and only the 3rd time in NASCAR Winston Cup history in over 1,700 races. The other time besides the one at North Wilkesboro here last year that all cars finished was in 1959 when there were only 12 that started the event. So we'll hope we can see everybody finish this one. And that is within 100 laps now as Rusty leads at the 300-lap mark. Beautiful sunny day here at North Wilkesboro as the race now has less than 100 laps to run. And at 5 o'clock this afternoon, the Bosch and Loam Championship featuring Irina Spurlia of Romania and American Mary Pierce. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon from Amelia Island, Florida, here on ESPN. WTA Tennis. There's the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace. Terry Labonte running 2nd. Dale Earnhardt is 3rd. Here's Ernie Irvin in car number 28, who's a lap down, and Derek Cope. They are battling for the 9th position, both a lap down.
And right behind them is the 33 car of Robert Presley, and not far behind him is Rusty Wallace. Robert Presley running in the 6th position, the last car on the lead lap.
Is Terry Labonte. The Kellogg Chevrolet, there he is, the silver car. Currently 2nd place to Rusty.
Both cars in a lot of traffic, maneuvering their way around. While those guys go through the traffic, let's find out where Dale Earnhardt is in 3rd position.
Well, they're just coming into turn 3 over there. There he is.
Traffic too.
Yeah, he's in heavy traffic.
Behind Kyle Petty.
Kyle's made an extra pit stop on everybody. He's made it a little bit more frequent today, so he's 5 laps down in 30th position.
You'll see Earnhardt as he closes up Ryan on the back bumper, Kyle. That's Wally Dolan back there. Clear. Hayes Modom's car. They went past. That was Kyle Petty's spotter telling him he was clear of Dolan back.
Good, buddy. Good move.
There's Rusty Wallace's roof cam, and up ahead is Robert Presley, the 6th place car, but he's sliding all over the place. And Sterling Marlin takes the 4th position from Jeff Gordon.
Those guys have had themselves one heck of a race today, haven't they?
Have been running together for a long time.
Uncle Walter's running good there now. He has a little bit fresher tires than they do by about 4 or 5 laps.
Michael 3 laps down in 21st, matching the number on the side of his car. There's old DW, 10 wins here at North Wilkesboro, but not a particularly good day for him today. He's 26, 4 laps down.
And meanwhile, Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte once again, nose to tail. And we know that Preston, the 33 car, is not going to be an easy car to lap, I wouldn't think. Because the chance of victory becomes slimmer and slimmer once you go a lap down.
Here's our Busch race recap. Rusty Wallace leading 63 of 314 laps, 14 lead changes, only 1 caution period. That lasted for 7 laps. We're averaging 102.155. 5 bonus points go to these drivers for leading the lap. Terry Labonte has led the most, then Marlin, Wallace, Presley, Shepard, and also Craven, Urban, Andretti, and Musgrave. Those cars out of the race? Nobody.
But
everybody is still running.
And Terry Labonte takes the lead. Once again, a lot of money up for grabs if we can just stay in front.
Jerry, what's Rusty's tire wear?
Well, Bob, we watched it all afternoon. Rusty says the car is like a scalded dog for about 30 laps, and then suddenly just quits, just goes away. Now, he pitted on lap 289. He lost the lead on lap 318. That's about 28 laps. He's just about right. About 30 laps, and the car goes away.
And a trouble up in turn 4, Elton Sawyer. Caution is out.
Second caution of the day. He's made heavy contact. Here comes Labonte across the line to take the caution flag.
And Steve Grissom was caught on pit road.
And Presley did beat Terry Labonte back to the start-finish line, so he did stay on the lead lap.
See the left rear tire coming apart on Elton Sawyer's car.
Yep.
So it's been a long day for Elton Sawyer. Well, we're going to show you a triple split here on our pit stops and give you an indication of how long it takes to travel from one end of the pit to the other and where your stall is, how that works out.
Meanwhile, the cars are coming down pit road. Rusty Wallace about to stop in his spot.
5, 2, and 24 will be our triple split. Rusty's already getting service. Here's Jerry.
Rusty already getting right side 5, 2, and 24. So you see the 5 on top, 2 in the middle, and 24 on the bottom 5. Now getting left side tires. They all have clean pit stalls, so no one pitting around them. As now the damaged car, Rusty's out and almost comes into contact with Elton Sawyer. Terry is out. He's down pit road in the Kellogg. And Gordon's still in the pit. Remember, he's pitting at the far end of pit road. Took him quite a while to come in to get his 4 tires. And Gordon had complained that his car had gone completely away, so he was certainly welcoming this caution flag as he gets his 4-tire change.
And they held him down at the exit to the pit area because the field had not yet come around.
That's right, exactly. Jimmy Cox, the flagman, held up the stop sign, and Rusty and Labonte heeded the stop sign. And now they'll go back, and Rusty Wallace once again will take the lead back.
And we have activity on pit road now involving those cars that are not on the lead lap. We'll be back with more live coverage from North Wilkesboro. Our second caution of the day is out because of a spin involving Elton Sawyer. And we are just about to go back to green after our second caution period of the afternoon. They're lined up 2 by 2 behind the pace car. It's Rusty Wallace, followed by Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, and Sterling Marlin and Robert Presley, the 6 cars on the lead lap.
They'll have 74 laps to go when they take the green flag, Bob. That's
be ready now, be ready.
A long way.
top the score stand in turn 4, and you heard them tell the drivers, go when the green flag was out. Earnhardt getting a tough break because he has 2 cars to bypass. Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte have clean racetrack.
We should say that Mark Martin, during this caution, took his car into the garage area. So Mark Martin is the only car right now that's out of the race. He's something wrong.
Dale Jarrett is in 14th position after all that he has gone through this afternoon. He's 2 laps down, but is in 14th, and I don't think that a top 10 is out of the question by any means, because there are about 5 cars that are also 2 laps down. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, the Valvoline Ford sits in the garage here. They put it up on 4 jack stands, and Mark Martin has climbed down to the car. Apparently, the problem, he's talking to Jack Roush's car owner. Mark, is it the rear end gear? Is that the problem?
I guess it is. Something broke in the back.
Mark Martin climbed down to the car. They're going to try to get the car fixed. He's talking with Jack Roush. He is 7th overall in the points, and if he would get a DNF here, it could really hurt him early in the season in the points race.
It sure could, Jerry. Good point. 7th in the point standings, and he is the only car out of the race right now, or back in the garage area. And this is what happened when he went into the garage area. Had to come to a complete stop because there were people standing in his way. Jeff Gordon takes 3rd from Dale Earnhardt.
Well, they are going at it. Earnhardt wants to come back. Really can't do it.
Well, Jeff got to the inside quicker than Dale on that restart, and I think that helped a lot. If points were awarded right now, Dale Earnhardt would be in the points lead, moving up a position. Jarrett back a spot, Terry Labonte up 2, and Ricky Rudd down 2 to 5th position. Rusty Wallace would move up 2 positions to 7th, Martin down 1 to 8th, Musgrave up 1, and also Sterling Marlin up 1. But of course, if Dale Earnhardt does come out of this race with the points lead, and if he wins it, he's going to win that Winston bonus.
That's up to about $50,000 now. Winston puts $10,000 in every race, sort of like the Unical bonus. It just accumulates.
But the winner has to be in the points lead at the end of that event in order to collect the money. But these guys have been so strong today, it's going to be difficult to take the lead away from these guys, Wallace and Terry Labonte.
Those 2 definitely look like the class of the field. And Rusty Wallace looks to be just a tick quicker on older tires, but Labonte seems to have the advantage on older tires.
Ram field summary, 6 cars on the lead lap. Craven and Ernie Irvin, the only 2 just 1 lap down. And then that group of 2 lap down cars, including Dale Jarrett.
And it takes a couple of laps to pit. There's not a car that would try to stretch it 75 laps. They will all make another pit stop.
Well, I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see. You know, if I would say that somebody will stay out there and try to go. Now, maybe all of them will. How about it, Jerry Punch?
Well, Ned, you're exactly right. He must have read Gary Dehar's mind. He just told me a minute ago the car number 5 of the Kellogg Chevy of Terry Labonte, he said, we ran 73 laps on our second stop. We should be able to make it. Our tires will probably last 73 or 74. Unless the yellow comes out, we're going to stay out. Now, I talked to Robin Pemberton in the car number 2's pits, Rusty Wallace, and Robin said, hey, I said, can you run 70 laps today? We can't run 35. Our car goes away. But we made a huge track bar adjustment, 3 rounds in the right rear, and we might have cured it. We're going to have to roll the dice if the 5 car stays out. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Well, don't look for Dale Earnhardt to pit. If this race stays green, he's staying out and going for the checkers. It's a smart man's race right now. The guys that are leading now may not be around at the end if they start using up their tires. Dale asked his crew after they went back out after that most recent stop, have we gotten any better or worse? About the same, but their last 2 runs have been the best. If this goes green all the way, this will be their longest run on a set of tires all day. They went 76 laps on the very first set. Dale would also like Gerald Waltrip to understand that the 3 car would like 5 to 17 so we can rope in the leaders. Further down pit road is John Kernan.
Robert
Presley, who's running in the 6th spot right now, no problem. Their first run, 76 laps. Andy Petrie says, not a problem going the rest of the way on tires. The problem that they're having is Robert's getting on the gas a little too much coming out of the turns, spinning the tires, wearing out the rear tires. So Andy Petrie has told Robert this last run, Robert, drive the car like you're driving on an icy road.
Here is the battle up front between Wallace and Terry Labonte.
And I believe Labonte's driving his car like he's on an icy road. He's just sitting there, just real smooth, being very careful. As Benny Carson says earlier, don't break that car loose. Don't spin the tires.
Rusty Wallace looking for his 4th win here at North Wilkesboro, while Terry Labonte is also looking for his 4th. But in 19 of the last 20 races here at North Wilkesboro, Rusty Wallace has finished in the top 10.
19 out of 20?
Yep. Wow. That's awesome.
Labonte went up just a moment ago. We see Terry Labonte. There's Earnhardt, Sterling Marlin, and Presley.
It's a good 3-car battle there, 4th, 5th, and 6th. What was that smoke for on the 33 car?
I didn't see it. This time we can
see that.
It's the 4 car, isn't it?
I think it's the right front.
Is it the brakes on the 33 car?
I think he may have a tire rubbing.
Might have. John Kernan, what do you know about that?
Well, earlier on in the race, Ted, Robert did get into someone with the right front, and it had bent the fender back, so it looks like the fender might be rubbing. He might have gotten into someone else out there, but it looks like the fender might be rubbing just a little bit. But guys don't seem to be too concerned with it.
Well, Benny, I think you may be right, because I saw a little bit of smoke coming out of the 4 car that time.
I think it's out of the exhaust on the 4 car. There it is. It's coming out of the exhaust on Sterling Marlin's car.
Sure can't beat that guy. He knows what's going on.
It is. It's tough to get ahead of him. But this is how the fender got in on the 33 car. This was about 5 laps ago.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there with Sterling Marlin. Don't take much to knock that fender in.
Robert may have seen the puff of smoke from the 4 car every time he goes into a corner and thought maybe he could take advantage of it. He has not done so as of yet. But there is the little bit of damage there on the right front. And once again, there's the smoke on the 4 car. It's consistent. Just 50 laps to go in this one. We got 6 cars on the lead lap at City Buddies race, especially between Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte. Back in just a moment. North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway, the scene of the first Union 400 NASCAR Winston Cup race, race number 7 on the 96 schedule. We're riding on top of Rusty Wallace's car, and at the moment, Rusty is the leader of the race. And a reminder that you can get on the internet and dial up NASCAR online at www.com.nascar.com, I should say, and get the real-time electronic timing and scoring, and you can talk to the NASCAR officials, ask them questions. NASCAR online, www.nascar.com.
Robert Presley all of a sudden is losing ground to the fellows. There we see Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin, and Robert Presley was just right behind him a couple of laps ago. There he is, falling back in the clutches of Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton is a couple of laps down. The STP Pontiac has not the position, but Hamilton obviously much faster.
Hamilton does have a top 10 going, though. John, what's the problem with Robert?
Bob, it's kind of humorous when you hear this. You're probably going to laugh, but the radio came unplugged, and Robert lost time by reaching over, grabbing the wire, plugging it back into the radio. Nothing wrong with the car, but he did lose some time out there on the track by having to plug the radio back in.
Field summary showing you where your favorite driver is running here with less than 40 laps to go. This has been a quick race, only 2 cautions. Neither of which were anything significant. Jeremy Mayfield spun in 4 and Elton Sawyer did so in 3. Other than that, it's been a nice, relatively clean race with a little bit of paint trading, but nothing serious. Now separating himself, or Earnhardt, I should say, separating himself a little bit from Sterling Marlin.
We can see 37 laps, and Kyle Petty's off the pace, and the Coors Light Pontiac just 37 laps going. 24 cars catching them, Ned. Appears to me like that Jeff Gordon is gaining.
I think you're right. I don't have a watch on him, but yeah, he's definitely gaining.
So third place, Jeff Gordon could make this a 3-car race before it's over. There are the first 2.
Both these guys are probably caught out there, Rusty Wallace is probably caught out there in no man's land because feeling like he has to run the rest of the laps without making a pit stop and trying his best to save his car to be able to do that. And Labonte just sitting there biding his time because on hot tires, he feels like he has an advantage. So they're probably soft pedaling, and meanwhile, Jeff Gordon is catching them. It's like Rusty's car running against that wall again, Ned.
Yep. And they've run about almost half the distance that they had to run when the green flag came out.
Exactly.
1.27 seconds separates first and third, and Mark Martin comes back out onto the racetrack after repairs in the garage area.
Martin's 34 laps down in 37th position.
So again now, all cars are still running. It's 1.17 between first and third.
Martin can only gain 1 spot, and the 9 car would have to fall out for him to gain that spot.
Yep.
Look at that. Jeff Gordon has run those 2 cars down.
Just a little more than a second. Now it becomes a matter of car lengths. Wow. How about that? Gordon going for his 3rd consecutive win. Again, that hasn't been done since Rusty Wallace did it in 1994. All of last year, we didn't have a winner 3-peat. Wow. Jeff is just taking no prisoners here, huh?
Man, he is really going somewhere. Now all of a sudden, Labonte was an offensive driver. Now he has to become a little bit defensive. There we see some traffic. Rusty did go to Kenny. Right directly in front of him. The spam car, lake speed.
As we've said so many times, though, catching and passing are 2 different things. All right, here are the top 5 in points when we came into this race, where they started and where they are running now. Dale Jarrett has moved up to 14th. Earnhardt has moved way up, 26th to 4th. Ricky Rudd, 33rd start, 17th now. Ricky Craven stays in 7th. And Jeff Gordon started 17th, is now in 3rd position. Rusty Wallace has moved from 12th to 1st. So it just goes to show you what Ned and Benny talked about in the early part of the race.
Oh, and John Andretti in the wall. And there goes, more trouble. And Rusty Wallace is stopped. Rusty makes some contact with someone and is stopped.
Rusty Wallace becomes a victim of a crash here on the main
backstretch.
Yeah.
And look how they're going to get in the pits with all that water over there.
There is a huge amount of water. That was a water barrier to soften the blow, and all the water is dumped out on pit road. And Joe Nemechek
has got problems.
Yeah, damaged heavily on the right front.
The tire is trying to come off the rim and probably will before he gets back.
Wow, what a break for Rusty Wallace, huh?
Tough break.
There's John Andretti. He's climbed out of his car. He's okay. Rusty is moving, but the front end of the car is all messed up.
And since pit road is closed, he will no doubt go into the pits through that water.
There was a little bit of a fire that broke out on Andretti's car, but he quickly got out and is obviously okay. But you're right. What are we going to do with all of this water out there on pit road?
There we saw Rusty go through the water heading towards the pits. No, that was Nemechek. Let's see what we can see what happened.
To the left. Andretti already.
And Rusty's going to hit Andretti.
Yeah.
And that's when we see the fire. Wow. That is a tough break. And Jeff Bodine makes some contact with John Andretti. And Andretti's trying his best. Ever see Ernie Irvin go by. Now here comes Nemechek. And looks like the Dallenbach also hit the water.
Dallenbach was the first to hit the water, and then Andretti slid into it, knocking over the barrels. And then right in front of Rusty Wallace, Rusty had no place to go. And this is Rusty's
Amazing.
Just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's racing. But boy, a tough pill to swallow for Rusty Wallace, who had the field pretty much covered here, or at least was in the lead. He's coming in despite the fact that the pits are closed, because it really doesn't mean much.
He's just got to go to the tail end of the longest line on the restart, that's all.
Come in and survey the damage and try to get this car back out there. But Jerry, go ahead.
Well, as you can see, heavy damage on the front of the car. Rusty said, hey, just pull the fenders out and put on 4 tires. And Chris said, no, Rusty, it's worse than that. We're going to have to raise the hood and take a look at it. So he sits on pit road, and they have told the pace car to slow up to give the NASCAR officials time and try to clean up the backstretch area of the pits so others could pit so they could open pit road. But heavy damage on the front of the Miller Ford Thunderbird. Billy Wilburn talking to Rusty. He takes the window net down, pulls the gloves off very disgustedly, and apparently they are going to have to call it a day. Can you believe the kind of luck he had just a few laps ago? And they're going to push the car behind the wall. What, radiator?
Radiator.
Okay, they said the radiator, the oil pump, everything is gone in the front of the car. They are history.
Wow. That is a shame.
Well, that was the break he was looking for. A caution flag was the absolute break he was looking for. But he didn't need to be part of it. No.
Ironically, his crew chief, Robin Pemberton, has been named the Western Auto Mechanic of the race. And now he's got a lot of work to do. He and the rest of the Miller crew go to work. Man, that is just a real unfortunate situation for us.
They have stopped the pace car over on the second red flag.
I had a feeling they would. They're going to red flag this thing and stop it so that they can...
but now they can't work on the 2, right?
Yeah.
We can figure out what we can do there. Yeah. Don't touch it.
I said we'll figure out what we need to do. Well, that's one break. They can at least figure out what they need to go get off the truck, what kind of tools they need.
It's red flags.
They got some water to clean up over there in the backstretch at the entrance to pit road, so that's the reason for the red flag. There you can see the work is going on. First of all, they're going to have to refill those barrels of water.
Check this parking lot over in 1 and 2. It looks like Le Mans. Didn't they used to line the cars up like that in the 24
exactly
hours?
Right, yeah. They line them up like that, and the drivers run across the track and get up and go. Very badly damaged race car of John Andretti. He is okay. We're under red here in North Wilkesboro with less than 30 laps to go. ESPN Speed World coverage of the First Union 400 here in North Wilkesboro, being brought to you by McDonald's. On the track and in our restaurants, just watch us cook. By Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 Olympic Summer Games. This Bud's for you. And and by the more than 1,250 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Red flag here at North Wilkesboro.
You know what? They had the car on the wrecker. And what happened?
I don't know. It either fell off. There, as I watched it go by here on the hook, there was still a little bit of fire in the engine compartment. John?
Well, Bob, as they turned the wrecker, turned around to bring it back into pit road, all of a sudden a bunch of people from pit road started yelling at him, fire, fire. And there was a fire back in the engine compartment. And so they dropped the winch. They popped it, dropped the car down, pulled the wrecker truck away, and some fire crew were quickly on the scene to extinguish the fire. But a little bit of a scary moment there. Now, I understand Dale Earnhardt has somewhat of a problem. Let's go to Bill Weber to find out about that.
Well, when they parked these guys back there, he was really concerned that his car would not restart, so he left it running, and the temperature started going up and up. And he was encouraging Richard Childress to try and get NASCAR to keep these guys rolling, and they wouldn't. Obviously they couldn't do it. So finally, he said, I'm leaving it running. Richard Childress told him, you're going to have to turn it off, Dale, or it's going to burn up. So they have shut it off. Now, he did get an agreement from Lake Speed in the 9 car that Speed would push start him when we go back to caution condition, but now it looks like NASCAR may get a truck over there to help push start the 3 car. We'll have to wait and see. Down pit road to Jerry Punch with a very disappointed Rusty Wallace.
Rusty, you climbed out of the car. Looked like you had one. I mean, the car running so well.
Oh, man, it's just, it's really upsetting because the car was just that good, and something happened coming off of turn 4, and they started spinning down the back straightaway. I went down low to try to avoid it, and the 37 car come across the track, and there's just nowhere to go. When the smoke cleared, there he was.
You hit him. It looked like you were trying to get on the brakes, and it looked from us like he was going to stay across the top of the racetrack.
Well, I thought he was. I was on the brakes hard trying to get to stop, and I just hit him head on. There's nothing I could do about it.
The car was awesome. How bad does it hurt?
Oh, I think it's got the front snout knocked off, but other than that, it was, it's pretty bad right now.
Rusty Wallace just couldn't catch a break, folks. Thought he had a great one today in Ronnie, and they're going to try to fix the car, but it is heavily damaged here in the garage area.
Another look at it from our camera down the backstretch into turn number 3. Andretti against the wall, comes across. And Andretti hits the barrels of water, and then Rusty hit him.
And Bill Weber reported that Earnhardt wanted to leave his car running, but it got too hot. You see the darker part underneath the 3 car? That's the overflow out of the right rear, coming under the car, and across. That's how much water the 3 car has lost.
Bill Weber is with Richard Childress.
And he's been talking to his driver and his crew, trying to make sure they're all set to go when this race goes back to yellow. Obviously, his car was not going to restart. Does he have an overheating problem, Richard?
No, we're not overheating. It just is. He sat there and let it idle, while we're waiting to see how long we were going to leave it out, and it got a little hot and spit some water out. But I think we're going to be okay. We'll get it cranked up.
Okay, it's going to start okay for you?
Well, we may have to have a little push.
Okay, well, we've been to this movie before, like at Bristol. This might be a big help for you guys. Obviously, the 2 cars out of it, but your car wasn't as good as it had been earlier in the race.
Yeah, that time there, the car was shoving the front just a little bit more, and it's the first time we really had to push the car, so we'll just see how we do on this next one. We're trying to do some stuff in here.
Well, Yogi said it best. These things are never over till they're over, are they?
Never over till it's over.
Richard Childress hoping that his car restarts and his driver can come back here and get 4 fresh tires for the last 23 laps of this thing. Wow.
377 are complete. It's Terry Labonte and Jeff Gordon up front now, under red here at North Wilkesboro, cleaning up an accident over on the backstretch. Thanks, Carl. We are back at North Wilkesboro, where the red flag remains out. And we go down to Jerry Punch, who's with John Andretti.
John, first of all, you took one heck of a lick out there. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm really disappointed. We were just trying to get to the finish. It seems to be the thing that's been kind of out of our reach all year. And we got down there at the beginning and probably, just trying some different strategies. Anyway, we just come along, and it's a shame. The same guy that took us out of Darlington took us out here, and evidently he has very little regard for me or my safety or anybody else's out there, because he just keeps doing it. And that's not the way I go racing. I go racing to go race, and I don't go racing to hit people, and it's a shame that it happened.
It looked like your car was going to stay at the top of the racetrack, and I know you were probably trying to keep it up there, but it came back down across in front of Rusty, but you didn't have much control?
No, once it hit the wall the first time, it broke the steering and bent it up, and you can get in there and try and turn it, but the wheel's not turning, and you hold the brakes and hope that, you come to a stop. Unfortunately, when it ricocheted off the wall, it came, perpendicular to the racetrack, and then I got hit again and got spun around, and then unfortunately Rusty, he had nowhere to go, and hit me head on, I guess.
John, what do you do? We're not naming names, but what do you do when the driver taps you a couple times on the road like that? Do you go talk to him during the week? Do your car owner go talk to somebody, or did you just let NASCAR handle it?
I think, that you'd hope that NASCAR would handle it, because, it's really not something that we need to handle personally, but I guess if we have to handle it personally, I don't like to race like that, and it's tearing up a lot of our equipment, and it's unnecessary, and, he wasn't racing for the lead, neither were we, and we had nothing to gain by it, and he certainly didn't either, and we lost a lot from it, so like I said, maybe it wasn't intentional, but it's happened twice, and he hit me twice both times, and usually if it's unintentional, you get it once, and they let go of you, and you usually save it then.
John Andretti able to join us for a moment. The cars have refired, and so is the car number 3. There was some concern about that car not refiring because of the overheating, but they have refired in the backstretch.
It is rolling on its own down the backstretch, and so Dale Earnhardt's GM Goodrich service Chevy is okay here.
It might not have started with the starter, but he had it parked so the car would coast down the hill, and he could let the clutch out in gear and turn the car. That's why all the cars stopped like they did and backed up the wall in case the starter would not turn them over. They would just let them coast down the hill and start them with the transmission.
Let's take a look at a Fran field summary here in just a moment. The cars are being restarted, and the green will come out within a couple of laps.
Well, the pit road was closed that time. The next time they go by and pit road opens, all these cars, I would think, will dive in and pit. Would you think, Ned?
Yeah, I would think so. With 23 laps to go, 22 when they come back around the next time. Yeah, they're going to want some fresh tires on those cars.
And there's only 5 cars on the lead lap, so...
This lap does count. That's 378 complete now.
Let's see. Pit road is still closed this time.
Note Rusty Wallace in 6th position. This is how they cross the line before the red flag, but Wallace's car is heavily damaged behind the wall, and that, of course, is going to fall out of 6th position as we go along.
The strange thing is when we get down to Mark Martin, you'll see that he is 45 laps down. So cars falling out of the race doesn't help him.
Yep, because there are only 22 to go.
Exactly. So he can't pass them.
Let's go to Bill Weber for an update on Earnhardt.
Okay, Dale got it fired. Temperature 240 degrees. Called in and told him it was trying to vapor lock. So then he got it down to 230. Then it's 225. He told him speed up the pace car. All these things are going to overheat. So Earnhardt's going to come in here and try and get his 4 tires. And they've told him to come down here and make a real good pit stop. They really want to see him park this car right. There are 2 stops under yellow, 21.95 and 20.86 today. I was just talking to some of the guys. They'd like to see an 18.5 here to do it. And we're ready for the fun to begin.
This could determine the outcome of the race, really, whoever gets out in front. We're going to show you a triple pit stop. Here's Bill Weber again.
The 5, 3, and the 24 stacked on your screen. Earnhardt is in no traffic around this pit at all. Right side tires are on. They're going to make sure they get it right. Working around. Jack is down. Swing it around to the left side. Earnhardt guns the engine. Jack up the left side. Put on the left side tires. Waiting for them to drop the Jack, the 24, and the 5 Terry's down there.
Pair of Hendrick teammates pitting top and bottom. Earnhardt's car already rolling down pit road. Now they pull the 5 car off the Jack. He is down and away as they will try to beat the 3 car. And here's the 24. It will be 5, 24. And no, the stop sign was out, so they all slam on the brakes as Jimmy Cox had the stop sign. And now the 24, 5, 3, and 33 in that order will pull away.
Once again, those making pit stops got out before the field had come around, and so they had to slam on the brakes at pit out.
Let's see. Jeff Gordon completes his pit stop. He moves. And the 5 car is going to win the race.
And he has moved ahead of Jeff Gordon out on the racetrack.
So it will will be Terry Labonte at the front of the field when we go back to green. There you can see them all stacked up, waiting for the field to come around. So we'll be back to racing here in just a moment for the final few laps of the first Union 400.
Hi, this is Alan Bestwick. Right after the race, the real Terry Labonte and the real Jeff Gordon join me on NASCAR Shop Talk from the Hendrick Motorsports Museum in Charlotte. The phone lines are open now. Stay with us. NASCAR Shop Talk right after the race.
Ironic that Alan's guess will be those drivers running first and second at the moment, and Rusty Wallace has completed the repairs on his Miller Ford and is coming back in the race. And we'll show you a replay of why he suffered the damage.
There we see John Andretti. And listen. In-car camera.
Rusty back out on the racetrack, however, to complete the final laps of this event. And we're lined up for a restart. Labonte,
get ready. Go now. Get ready. Go.
Has completely changed the complexity of this race. It is unusual not to see the 2-car up here in the front of the field, but instead it's 5, 24, 3, 33, and 4 that are on the lead lap.
5 cars on the lead lap and 5 Chevrolets on the lead lap.
And Jeff Gordon just trying to get a fender alongside his teammate, Terry Labonte. Earnhardt's car just not up to speed.
Terry Labonte has not won since last year's Bristol night race, which he slid across the finish line and banged the wall. And here's Dale Jarrett trying to get 11th position from Ted Musgrave, and he does it. So he's near the top 10.
And the 18 car in front of him, Bobby Labonte, is
the 10th place car.
10th place car. That would be for position if he could get by Labonte. Meanwhile, this is the battle for the lead. 11 laps to go.
And these two have separated themselves a little bit from Dale Earnhardt. 10 to go.
Ford took a look, but he didn't have anywhere to go.
Tried to get to the inside, but ran out of racetrack.
He really wants to drive across that apron, but he knows better. He knows that once he gets the left side on there, it's going to upset the car. He'll spin out. Really wants to use that apron with the left side.
What a performance in tying Richard Petty's consecutive start streak at 513. A pole and a possible win for Terry Labonte. Again, if he wins, his check will include $129,200 from Unocal.
Rick Hendrick, being the businessman he is, well, I don't know if he's probably pulling for Labonte because he's missing $129,000 extra. If Labonte should win. Labonte, some contact, baby. He chops him down in turn one. This is close, Rick.
Yes,
Who are you pulling for, buddy? They probably don't care who wins as long as one of his cars wins.
By the way, the Unocal bonus This has never been won before at North Wilkesboro. Here's Jeff trying to get off the corner, but can't get position. And the laps are quickly going away. Less than 5 to go now.
Jeff Gordon. They're winding down. Forward. Boy, he's not getting off the bottom, is he?
Staying right there. That's what he needs to do. Just tap that inside. Next time by.
This isn't too much we can say, folks. There it is, right there in front of you. You're seeing it all.
White flag comes out, 1 to go. One more trip around the 5/8 mile North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Oval. Will it be Terry Labonte or Jeff Gordon in victory lane? They're down the backstretch, still nose to tail, but Terry holding off the challenge of the defending NASCAR Winston Cup champion. Off of corner number 4, and Terry Labonte wins the first Union 400 with Jeff Gordon second. Dale Earnhardt finishes third, followed by Robert Presley and Sterling Marlin. And Kellogg's Cornflakes crew celebrates Terry's performance. And there is Ray Evernham, the crew chief, on Jeff Gordon's car. Jerry?
Gary, congratulations. You rolled the dice there late, but it came up a winner.
I tell you, Rusty was pretty strong, and we didn't know if we were going to get around him or not. Our tires were giving up about the same time his was. Unfortunately, he got in that wreck, but he was pretty good. And everybody had to pit that last time, so we come out on ahead on this deal. It's a good deal.
What a day. You tie a Legends record, you win the pole, and you win the race.
I'm telling you, and that's something I can't believe it. I've always done a good pit stops today, all day long, and we just had a good day.
Gary Dehart, the winning crew chief for Hendrick, wins in 1996, Bob.
And it's Terry Labonte's 17th career win, his 4th from the pole position, 2nd win from the pole at North Wilkesboro. Terry Labonte, the streak, 513 consecutive starts in 17 seasons. Plus, we changed the 16 to 17 wins for today's victory. 24 poles, 139 top 5s, 266 top 10s, and the 1984 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. He pulls the Kellogg's Cornflake Chevrolet into victory lane here at North Wilkesboro and picks up a big paycheck today because of the Unical bonus money that has been won for the first time ever here at this facility. The last time Terry Labonte was in victory lane, his car was all beat up after a crash just past the checkered flag at Bristol, but the car looks relatively clean today.
He drove a very smart race. He really did. He backed off when he had to, ran hard when he had to. And obviously had a very good race car. And also, some credit to Gary Dehart and the crew, some very, very good pit stops.
Waiting for Terry to get out of the car so we can have a word with him.
He's getting his last-minute instructions from Bill Broderick on what to do. There we go. Put on the hat. There you go. I forgot that thing.
And there he is. The Ironman, our McDonald's Winter Circle interview comes from Bill Weber.
And Terry Labonte, sky high now off the roof of your car, your feet back on the ground. Congratulations. What 3 wonderful days for you.
Well, I tell you, I don't know what to say. We had a great car here. All the guys at Hendrick Motorsports did a great job for us. Fantastic engine, fantastic car. The difference was a pit stop at the end. They made a great pit stop. We beat the other guys off pit road, and we were able to hold off Jeff. I was glad it was Jeff behind me because we raced each other clean, and, he never got into me or nothing. And if he would have beat me off pit road, he would have won the race.
Terry, you've played it really cool tying the King's record. You've been really relaxed. But now, does it mean something even more to you the way you did it?
Well, I think that, I always felt like the thing that excited me the most was the fact this team was so good, and the fact that when we got to the race where we could have a chance to tie the record and then a chance to break it the following week, I felt like we had a chance to win the race also, and it came true.
How about that bonus money, huh?
That's all right.
You had the 24 behind you. Could you have gotten the 2? How about you win the 2? Rusty fell out.
I think at the time we were beat. I'd used up my right rear tire trying to beat the 2, and the 24 had caught us there. And then they had a wreck down the back straightaway. Rusty went low and I went high, and the car went low and he got it. Just a tough break. It was a good run all day for us, and it was fun. All the guys up front ran hard and we raced good.
Well, congratulations on your win and on an amazing record-tying feat.
Thank you.
That's Terry Labonte to Jerry Punch.
Well, from 26th to third, champ, not a bad run for you.
Well, it wasn't. I got to hand it to Bobby and all the guys, David Smith and Spinny and all the engine guys back home. They did a great job. The car just was a little too tight on the first of the run, and after we got 10 or 15 laps, we could go pretty good. So I got to congratulate Terry Labonte for all the starts and tying the record, Richard, and winning the race too. So he got quite a bonus today. So he deserves it. He's been a tough competitor all over the years, and he's still competitive, still can win, and he's going to be one to reckon with this year.
You got a pretty good nickname. And tell me later, he's the Ironman. Let me ask you this quickly: the restart, the car vapor locked, and just was sputtering those last few laps.
Well, it was hot, and then starter was locked up. It wouldn't work because of that. And then when we got it kicked off there, after setting over there, the temperature of the motor vapor locked the carburetor, and the gas in the carburetor got hot. So it was a couple laps under that caution. I didn't know we was going to make it back, but it cleared out, and I reckon the cool gas got to it. We got to stop there and had a good stop. Just was short on them, short runs there. We'd like to got them.
That's Dale Earnhardt, and Gazi finishes third and chips away at that point lead of Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, he sure does. I think our review of the point standings will still show him in second, however, and we'll take a look at that and have more post-race comments in a moment. 400 here at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina is over, and hey, they're filling out the check. Hey, sign me over a few thousand, would you?
Pretty big check.
Wow, $193,625 for the winner, Terry Labonte. Let's talk to second place finisher Jeff Gordon.
And what a run for Jeff Gordon. But Jeff, you've been asking me about points. I'm told you're still sixth. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. We gained a lot on some guys up ahead of us. Terry was fifth in points, so I knew we weren't going to pass him up. But right now we're really happy. I mean, this streak that we got, the consistency that we have going, team deserves a lot of credit. All of Hendrick Motorsports, obviously, today did a pretty good job. But you just can't thank those guys enough. I know the fans and a lot of people get tired of hearing us, just thank the crews. But if anybody went and sat in those shops or looked around and saw how hard they're working and what the effort is that they put out to make us go as fast as we do, it means a lot to us. And I couldn't drive the way I do. I couldn't be up there front if I didn't have those guys, and our team especially. They've done a great job here lately, and I'm thrilled to death to what they're doing out there.
All right, congratulations, Jeff Gordon, second place today, Bob.
And Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte, our winner of this race, will be the featured guests on Shop Talk, which comes up immediately following our coverage here at 4:30 Eastern Time. We'll come back with more post-race activity at North Wilkesboro in a moment. ESPN Speed World coverage of the First Union 400 from North Wilkesboro is being brought to you by Valvoline Durablend, the #1 selling semi-synthetic motor oil. By Chevrolet, one car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR, genuine Chevrolet. And by Western Auto. Western Auto and Western Auto's Parts America are the official auto parts store of NASCAR. Terry Labonte wins, and Dr. Punch is with Sterling Marlin.
Yeah, we caught a big one here in the garage area. We're with the Marlin down here. Sterling, you had a great day. The car looked to be one of the best cars of the day early on and in the middle part of the race.
Well, it was. The guys done a real good job. We worked real hard yesterday on a long run, and our car was good on the long runs, and we just couldn't run on new tires. It took us, 15 to 20 laps to get the car hooked up, and we were just too tight on new tires. And we took a gamble at the end, done some chassis adjustments. We knew we'd lose a spot in the pits, but it wouldn't make any difference. And I got to Robert, but run out of laps. And if it went green the last 80 laps, we might have been there. We was gaining on them about a tenth, 2/10 a lap, but we run out of laps.
Larry said you wanted to work on the short track program this year. You got the speedway program down. This has to give you a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, it does. And, Bristol, I felt like we had a car to win the race, and we run real good and had a piece break and had lost 2 laps changing. But this same car ran Bristol. We're going to Martinsville with it, and hopefully we get up there. We had a good test in Martinsville.
Sterling Marlin finishes 5th. Let's go to John Kernan with the 4th place finisher.
And, of course, that's Robert Presley. And Robert, a career best 4th place finish. Your best finish in Winston Cup previously was a 10th last April at Bristol. But, boy, you had to work for it. The car got really squirrely on you today, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did. First part of the race, the car was great. I got a little bit too overconfident there at the start because I was paying attention to how good we was running, not what we was going to be doing at the end of the race. And got a little bit off track there in the second half, just loose, and never got it good until the last couple pit stops, or got it back right. Places just wore out. Need a little bit of asphalt here, to race on.
Well, Bob, remember I told you all that they told him to drive the last 60, 70 laps like he was on an icy road. Never driven on an icy road, right?
Well, yeah, I've driven on them a lot, but I crash on them a lot.
Robert Presley, career best 4th place finish.
Good performance by Robert Presley today. Terry Labonte wins. A reminder that RPM tonight will wrap up this race, the Grand Prix of Long Beach IndyCar race. Also, the World of Outlaws. That's at 8 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. And don't forget the Monday through Friday version featuring John Kernan. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. More coming up from North Wilkesboro when we come back. Stay with us. We're back at North Wilkesboro, where the 7th race of the 1996 season has been run. The first Union 400 goes to Terry Labonte. Taking a look now at the first 15 finishers. Some interesting finishes here. Presley in 4th. Ricky Craven hung on for a 7th. Bobby Hamilton in 8th. And Ken Schrader, believe it or not, did not get caught up in an early race accident. He drove to a top 10 finish. Here's 16 through 20 now. Or I should say 16 through 30.
Darrell Waltrip finished 6 laps down. Uncharacteristic for Darrell here at North Wilkesboro. Usually runs this racetrack very well.
Yep. Now the remainder of the field, 31 through 37. Only 2 cars were out of the race at the end, but Mark Martin finishes last, 45 laps down. Now the point standings. Unofficial point standings at the conclusion of this race. Dale Jarrett holds on to the points lead. Dale Earnhardt is now only 2 behind. Terry Labonte moved up 2 positions to 3rd. Ricky Craven holds in 4th, and Ricky Rudd fell 2 positions to 5th. Then 6th, Jeff Gordon remains 6th. Musgrave moves up 3. Sterling Marlin moves up 3. Elliott down 1, and Mark Martin down 3. Now 11 through 15 in the point standings. Ken Schrader in 11th. Rusty Wallace. Boy, he would have been much higher had that race gone for him the way it appeared to be going before he ran into John Andretti. And Jeff Burton, who started off the year in great form, way up there in the point standings, has fallen all the way back to 17th because of his 29th place finish here this afternoon. We'll be back to wrap things up at North Wilkesboro as the crowd is filing out here after seeing an exciting race won by Terry Labonte. Stay with us. Wilkesboro, and we will be back at North Wilkesboro. The official word has just been given. There will be a fall race here, ending the speculation that it might go to another track because of the change of ownership earlier this year. So we'll see you later in the year at North Wilkesboro. Ned?
Bob, you remember a few weeks ago at Darlington when Doyle Ford dropped the flag?
I do.
Literally
indeed.
dropped the flag.
Yep.
Well, apparently, Benny must have said something or got on him pretty hard about it. And Benny, he talked to you about it, I guess, and you told him there's nothing that he could ever do to get back, right?
No, that's right.
Well, he brought a picture by us. There's Doyle's working place. The flag. He brought a picture by here that he wanted us to show on television, and he said that was you over there on the left side.
BP in drag. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm going to kill Doyle.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Ricky Craven, they're good and crazy upstairs, but you guys had a great run today. You started 7th, finished 6th. Great consistency.
Well, it has been, and it just keeps going. I'm so proud of the guys.
we've been blessed this year. I mean, it's been a great start, and we don't expect it to end. I mean, I think we're just building on it. Each week it gets better and better.
Expectations now coming into focus, so maybe a top 5 or even a top 3 in the points at the end?
No, honestly not. I mean, we're focused on one thing, and that's winning a race. And we know if we do this enough, knock on the door, pretty soon we'll bang our way in. And I drive up and down the road, ride to the shop, whatever I'm doing all week long, I think about that first win. And I can't wait till it happens. I'm not going to push too hard. I'm not going to tear up race cars doing it, but that's what we're focused on.
That first win can't be far away, guys. 3rd top 10 in the last 4 starts and his 4th out of 7 events.
And next week, we will have more racing coverage for you beginning Friday on The Deuce with Winston Cup qualifying, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Saturday, the Goodies Heading Peddler 200 on The Deuce, live at 1 o'clock. And we will be live next Sunday for the NASCAR Winston Cup race from Martinsville. Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte are Alan Bestwood's special guests on Shop Talk coming up in just a moment. Terry Labonte drives the Kellogg's Cornflake Chevy to victory lane here this afternoon in his 513th and record-tying consecutive start. For John Kernan, Bill Weber, Jerry Punch, Ned Jarrett, and Benny Parsons, I'm Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.